This time around, it's like I'm in every single trade scenario from June until February 1st.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, it's like not traded. Like,
Okay.
yeah, go back to work. So if you would have told us that like this group will be dismantled next season and we'll never have a chance, then it would be way more emotional.
Wait, let me guess. Are you a big J. Cole fan?
I am a big J. Cole fan. Honestly, I kind of found myself looking at it the same way y'all were. Like, what are they going to get for him?
Yeah. So,
what is he going to get traded for? Looking at myself.
Are you surprised you didn't get traded?
The cranium is crazy. Oh my god.
I mean, I really don't know what to say.
Crayon eaters rejoice.
Isaac Donovan, I have bad news for you and also
Damn.
all the viewers watching right now.
10 seconds in, you got bad news?
Bad news already. But I also have good news maybe 20 seconds after this. This is the end of an era. I've been on a dominant reign. Historic, LeBron, Jordan type of reign.
Okay.
Curry type of reign.
Oh.
The iPad Mo era is done for.
Oof.
What happened? You've had it for like 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks already and it's just done for. So my PEDs, my boost is gone.
No.
Dude,
Tell them
my
how.
powers.
Tell them how. Tell them
sat
how
on
it broke.
The concrete just got the best of it. That's all I can say. There's an investigation going on, all right? It's ongoing as we speak. Just know that. And whenever I did this shit, I'll find you, and you will be had.
Donovan lost one draft. He sent his shooters out. He sent Paulie and Tony out with some monkey wrenches. Ready to take you
Y'all
out.
know I'm a sore loser. I don't handle losing well. I don't like it.
Well, what's the good news? Outside of the iPad era being done, what's the good news?
Good news is we have another interview in the tuck right now with another NBA player.
What?
Great NBA player, bro. We talked to Cam Johnson. You did.
We
and
did.
You did. Stop acting surprised.
As you guys see by the intro of this episode, you saw a little montage before we started. We are sitting down today with Cam Johnson. That'll be the first part of the episode. Real fun conversation. We're supposed to talk to him at All-Star break with the other batch of interviews you saw, but scheduling came up. We had to postpone it. So we got to talk to him last week here in Chicago. Very fun conversation. He is so candid on camera and such a natural that it was like by far the easiest one we've ever done because like he said, he just loves to yap. So we sat back and listened. It was great.
He's the definition of a chill guy. Like he really is just like hands in his pocket, just like, yeah, man, you know, we just out here vibing, chilling. Like, yeah, that was for sure one of our, and I mean, we've only done what, like 5 at this point, 6 at this point.
I think 6.
Yeah, it's up there. It's in the top half. If we're doing, you know, keep 3, cut 3, the Cam Johnson interviews getting kept.
keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great one. And yeah, so we're going to start this episode off. We're going to send you off to that. We have the interview there. But as always, you know, just because you do an interview doesn't mean you're going to lose out on any other amount of content from us. When we come back, we're going to talk about all the biggest news stories this week. We're going to talk about March basketball, what's real, what isn't. Then we're going to do TikTok time. Full show for you guys. But yeah, man, let's get started. Let's send you over to our interview with Cam Johnson. We are here with a very special guest. Very fun conversation. We're supposed to have you back at All-Star, but we're glad we finally get a chance to talk to you, man. We're here with Cam Johnson. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Appreciate you coming on. How you enjoying Chicago? I know you're here for an off day after a tough back-to-back. How you feeling?
You know, I feel good. Can't complain, man. The weather's holding up pretty nice for us today. I was able to get outside.
You ducked the freezing parts. You came here just in time.
Yeah. Chicago in good weather, high quality city.
How does it feel to play a back-to-back? You really hate those?
They're more difficult when there's a flight in between them. But you know, they're followed by an off day, so you know that like you lock in 48 hours, play 2 games, compete. It's a real good feeling when you win both. But overall, man, it's definitely you feel them on the body a little bit, but I feel really good today. I feel like I could have played today too if we had to.
You can right now. I got a ball in the
Come on, let's go.
So we can make some shit happen. Yeah, man. How you feeling overall just with your season? What's going on? You know, you're coming off of a year where you're having a great year personally. You know, you're getting more opportunity you've ever got in your life.
Yeah.
You have the rare circumstance where you have the highest usage and your highest efficiency. You did both in the same time, which is obviously a real difficult thing to scale up and stay at a certain level. How are you feeling overall about your season? How's it going for you?
Learning. Huge learning experience. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty early. throughout the summer into the beginning parts of the season with trades and stuff. But I think we have a great coaching staff and Jordy and everybody that he's brought onto the staff. And when you have that in place and a kind of a belief and trust in what's going on and what you're building, then it makes it really easy to just compete at a bottom level. Now, the season hasn't gone, perfect according to plan. We always wish, we always want to win. That's what we want to do. Bottom line in the league, we want to win. But there's been so much learning experience that I've taken from this year. And like you said, higher usage, being in more action, seeing different defenses, having kind of a different involvement level in the offense and learning how to manage playing with different personnel and the shuffle that comes along with that. I'm able to go back and watch and learn so much that I think will benefit me for the rest of my career, honestly.
What's the biggest thing that you've learned this year?
It's hard to put into words, but I would just say I think steps in reading defenses. Reading defenses, one, and then two, kind of like where these shots are coming from. So where my threes are coming from, where I can get them off. I think the biggest thing that I've added this year is a lot more threes off the dribble and movement threes, which I've always loved. But this year I have more opportunities to do them. At first they were a little bit easier because I hadn't done them as much in the past, which just affected the offense, probably more of a stationary shooter. So early in the season, they were easier to get, but now that teams kind of understand that, they make those where I'm flying off of pin downs, flying off of handoffs, flying off of kind of away screens. The defenses are kind of fighting through those, and you can tell it's just a little bit more high alert. Yeah. So then I'm learning the counters off of that, or maybe how to get more open off of those things, which are all just so valuable in terms of kind of building, what you want in your scoring repertoire and how you process the game, which, like I said, I think is going to really help me in the long run.
Oh, definitely. You definitely see a lot of players who are, early in their career, 3-and-D, and you get an opportunity like this. And even if you were to have been traded and you go to a team where you're once again in a more minimized role, you're going to have all these reps of being able to attack closeouts and do that stuff with the ball in your hands. Is that what you're focusing on? Is being able to, right now you have the ball in your hands. Who knows what's going to be in the future? Do you feel like you've gotten specifically better at the stuff that's going to translate to whatever role?
Yeah, I think it always translates back. I definitely made a way for myself, especially early in my career, as being a 3-and-D role player, where I call the corners my real estate. Like, I own real estate in these corners. I'm a sprint to those corners in transition. I'm a work out of there. I'm a catch and attack from, playing out of those positions. I think having the ability to play in the middle third of the court, having the ability to read out of pick and rolls, to read out of off-ball actions is something that once you start to develop, it can add dimensions to your offensive game that any team can implement. So it's not even that you need to be a primary ball handler. It's not just you need every action to be called for you, but the more capability that you show in I can call this play, I can call this action, and this player can do X, Y, Z, the more opportunities like that you'll have. So I personally feel like whatever role I have on this Brooklyn Nets team, on whatever team I may be on going forward, is I can use these opportunities to then make myself, a more significant option in the offense, or just be able to be more efficient in whatever role that I'm in.
You're one of the most self-aware NBA players ever. You understand what sticks on the court and how to stay on the court. Where does that self-awareness come from?
I think it's just intrinsic, man. It just
psychedelics. What are you talking about?
I think it's just. I think it's just how I am as a human being.
Okay.
I think it's just how I was built, how I was wired. Just self-aware in that regard. That it could even be to a fault where it's just I really try to be very realistic with myself. I try to be very realistic with myself to give me a clear path of what I need to get better on, to give me, it just brings clarity. I try not to live in that la land.
So with that being the case, you're currently very aware of your situation. You're 29 years old. Right. You're in your second contract.
Right.
You are the old head of your team. You are one of the veteran
second
leaders.
Second oldest and only by a week.
Yeah. How does that feel to be in that, 2 years ago, 18 months ago, you were not in that situation?
I just had this conversation yesterday, I think, in the locker room. I'm looking at D'Lo. I'm like,
yo, we're old.
Yeah.
Like, I might be the old head on your team, and I'm like 4 years younger than you.
You know what I'm saying? For real though.
How does that feel? Like, do you feel that sense of responsibility for the team?
Absolutely.
You're really playing into it?
Yes, I think this is the year for me personally where I have felt a much larger sense of a leadership role and responsibility of everything that goes on. So like wins, losses, all those results, they weigh a little heavier. I feel like, I have a little just a more impact on the way the team responds to adversity, the way the team responds to runs. And it's an area that I really want to improve on. I'm 29, but I feel like I have so many good years of basketball ahead of me that it's just kind of funny to me that I'm on the older side, but I always felt like I'm on kind of like a Benjamin Button arc.
Yeah, exactly. Hearing that you're like 29, your birthday, happy belated. It was
Thank you.
a couple weeks ago, right? It feels like you're like 25, 24 for whatever reason. I don't know if it's like genetic, skin, whatever, cool.
So you look good?
I ain't saying all.
He said, bro, you're shining. I'm looking at you.
He said, "What is your skincare routine?
Yeah.
Please drop the serum."
I've always been told I can look kind of young. I don't know, baby face. People may say. I just hope that when I'm 50, I look like I'm like 35.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Yeah.
But I came in the league late, man. Like I was 23 when I got drafted. I spent 5 years in college, so that's kind of where that's where so D'Lo and I are a week apart, birthdays. But he's been in the league. What? This is his 10th.
It's like his ninth year.
Ninth year?
Yeah, ninth year. Damn.
Which is crazy.
10th?
Yeah.
I think it might be his 10th.
Was he
Maybe.
2014 draft?
2015.
2015.
Yeah.
So if this is my 6, he's plus 4.
Yeah. It's a lot of
yeah.
years. A lot
Yeah,
of years.
10 years.
nevertheless.
That's
Okay,
crazy.
so like the one and dones from my point, bottom line is one and dones from my class are on their 10th year.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that discrepancy comes into play. But like I said, man, I really think I'm on my Benjamin Button arc.
Yeah.
in the locker room, has there been a moment where the younger dudes have done something and you're like, oh yeah, you guys
Every
are
day.
different? what
From
do they
music
do?
choice. Music choice is
I was about to
probably
say
number
that.
one.
What does
Okay.
Cam Thomas listen
Yeah.
to? You hear like Young Boy?
Young Boy all day, every day.
Oh my God.
That's so
I
accurate.
kid you not, 99.9% of minutes on his Spotify is gonna be Young Boy, and if that .01 was probably just a mistake,
They autoplay Drake and he's
Yeah,
like, turn that off.
like the wrong button.
And so for you, what are you playing?
I'm playing like so when we had like for example Dorian Finney-Smith.
Wait, let me guess. Are you a big J. Cole fan?
I am a big J. Cole fan. No, I play a lot of everything. Like I play a lot of everything, and I can span a lot of different genres. It's just like I think the younger guys like had the little this, baby that, and these rappers.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's how you
You
know you're
sound
old.
like an old head right now. Little this, baby that. You can't understand anything they're
I
saying.
can't even, like we were talking about this the other day. Like
We
somebody
need real
played-
rap back.
I'm not even saying all that. I'm just saying somebody played this rapper that like I couldn't even tell you what his name was. It was just a combination of words and numbers.
No, the names are crazy now. The names are like it's like post irony with this new generation.
And some of the bars that there was one in the locker room. I'm not even gonna repeat it, but I was like,
please
who
repeat
put
it.
this? No, who put this on? But it's funny. Like we were sitting in the locker room yesterday, and like Keon Johnson, his birthday was the other day, and he's 23. Yeah, it's his 4th year. Yeah, talking like he old now. Bro, you're 23 years old, bro. Like. Chill. Like, you feel like on our team, he's one of the old guys. It's
I was in the
hilarious.
tournament back then. Shit.
No, it's hilarious. I'm like, bro, you're 23, bro. Like you act like you turned 29. You act like you turned 33.
Yeah. So, keep on the topic of self-awareness. You've talked a lot about your team's current situation and how
Yeah.
annoying fans are
Yeah.
about expecting you guys to
Yeah.
want to take and stuff. We don't got to relitigate that. On the topic of the trade deadline that passed, obviously, you're well aware you were in rumors
Yeah.
and stuff. How do you take that in, with that self-awareness? Is there... Because I feel like there's two paths I would probably think if I was in your shoes. One, you're seeing people talk about you like a commodity. That's got to be annoying that they're like, maximize this asset and stuff. But also, you're kind of in demand. People want you on their team. Like, is there a certain level of validation that comes with that too?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about being traded is that you realize that the team that traded for you, like for example, the Phoenix to Brooklyn trade. It's like, okay, they were willing to part ways with Kevin Durant and take on Mikal, myself, and picks. Like that, they put value in us as assets.
Yeah, your asset.
I think honestly, I kind of found myself looking at it the same way y'all were. Like
Damn.
I'm looking at it like from the third person view. Like,
Yeah.
what are they gonna get for him?
Yeah. So
What is he gonna get traded for? Looking at myself.
are you surprised you didn't get traded?
No.
No. So how is that communicated to you? Like with you have your agent, you have your team, and everything. Do you have any type of like conversations?
More minimally than you'd think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like,
No.
are you just in the dark with everybody else?
No, the one thing I asked is like to just have an inkling of what goes on and maybe some forewarning or even a little input if that's possible to the workings of what's going on if something is really brewing. Just so I'm a little bit prepared. And so that was all I asked for. I was like, I'm not going to bug you about it. Like I'm sure you're not going to come to me and be like, hey, guess who called? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he goes
To the front office. So it's like, I just wanted to have a little bit of awareness, but at the same time, like I tried to detach from that process where I'm not invested in the outcome because it's too much, setting yourself up too much for disappointment.
Yeah.
Like if you get like I wasn't gonna ride that emotional roller coaster.
That makes
like
sense.
just be in the present. I'm telling you, man, it was super anticlimactic. It was like you spend all this. I was just talking about this. When I got traded from Phoenix to Brooklyn, it was like you know I don't it could get traded, but it's not like I'm tossed around in every trade and boom, all of a sudden traded. This time around, it's like I'm in every single trade scenario from June until February 1st.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, it's like not traded. Like,
Okay.
yeah, go back to work.
1 week you're a Pacer, 1 week you're a Warrior.
Right, exactly. So it's like it's fine in the end. It's like I was invested in playing in Brooklyn. Like I said before, I really appreciate our coaching staff and the effort they give on a daily basis. So I had no problem just putting my head down and working, and just being where my feet were and continuing to be where my feet are.
Yeah. And obviously the other part of that conversation you mentioned that fans are being annoying with the whole tanking conversation. Obviously, you guys are just more capable than they thought. And Jordy Fernandez is initially starting like an amazing culture that is just, we're going to win games.
Yeah.
What makes him so good of a coach? Because obviously he's a first-year coach. People aren't super familiar yet. A lot of times people's reputation for coaches come in the playoffs typically. And so people just see him as a blank slate.
Yeah.
Why is he so good and like starting you guys at a point of being above expectations?
I think it starts with his kind of communication strategy, the balance between pushing, demanding, criticizing, and supporting and like loving on his players, where like he takes a very developed approach to those things that I think to management of our personalities and stuff to maximize what he gets from us and to maximize what he can get out of the group. I think offensively, defensively, he's gifted, but a lot of people are. I think he combines the human element with the actual X's and O's, where he does a good job. And like I don't like to let him down in games. I think that's the mark of a good coach is when you mess up and like it hurts. You're like, man, I don't want to let coach down. And so I think. And this is only his first season as an NBA head coach. He has head coaching experience, not Canada and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think he's only going to get better from here on out, and I think he's going to be a coach that sticks around for a very long time and has a lot of success in our league.
How do you think he taps into these individual personalities on the court? I know it must be hard to like manage and think about each and every single player's like best interest.
Well, he has a developed educational background when it comes to this stuff, so he's not just shooting in the dark. I think he has a very scientific type approach to it. And he pays attention. He pays attention to people's personalities, and I just think I think it is the mark of a good coach and how he can speak to his players. And, you hear a lot of times, and anybody who's been on a team, any team sport, it's like, man, coach this, man, coach that, man, coach this, man. Everybody always got something to say about coach.
Yeah.
But like it's not really, he pushes us, he does this, he does that, but he doesn't really like cross that boundary where you're just like, man, coach bugging, coach tripping, like what is he doing? You know what I mean? You have that respect as a player, so he has done a good job, especially as a first year coach, of like earning the respect of his players.
Along with that, there's always like when a new coach comes in, there's some level of like buy-in that has to happen. Was there a moment for you or for the team like specifically where it was like a very clear, like, yes, like we're bought into everything that he does?
Yeah. Initially, one big thing that he emphasized and the whole staff emphasized was that we're going to pressure the ball, pick up full court. And like, that's going to be like against a lot of people's natures, but you just got to do it. So all training camp, we're picking up full court, passing each other, fouling the heck out of each other. And so that was kind of like, you could tell like he's going to try to instill some characteristics in us early, maybe break some habits and stuff like that. But I think it was a conscious effort too amongst the veterans and stuff. That's like, we want to make it work. Like, the veterans at the time were me, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dennis Schroeder, Ben Simmons. Were like across the board, like the older guys on the team. Bojan Bogdanovic, although he wasn't playing, he was still around. Was like, we're gonna buy in and set kind of a good example for the younger guys. And I think that like definitely helped that transition.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was gonna say my impression of Jordy in his first year was more, because obviously I'm not in the locker room. I don't know how he's like with you guys, but on the X's and O's side, he seems like a really, really, really strong defensive coach specifically. Like even just watching this game the other day against the Lakers, you guys gave Lucas some trouble by just throwing super aggressive disguise coverages at him.
And he's not afraid to do that, right? Like he's not afraid to just throw some like wrinkles in the game plan.
Yeah, and it's like super well executed, like I said, just disguise coverages that are not simple, we're going to run drop every play, we're going to trap every play. Like it's really, really a lot of depth to his X's and O's. So to hear you say he's also like peak buy-in guy, the personality side is elite, I feel like not many coaches cross both those. I feel like most people are known as either tactician, X's and O's, or we're going to establish a culture, but maybe I'm old school and don't have the sharpest pen with the new stuff. Yeah. So you feel like he's a good combination of both?
Yeah, and staff as a whole. Mm-hmm. It's like a cohesive staff that kind of is all operating on a very similar accord, which is very, very helpful when it comes to that.
Shout out to the crew, man. Real quick, before we transition to the next topic, I want to play a little game. Obviously, you are an elite shooter for your position, especially. I want to name...
what position are you saying that I am?
Stretch 4.
Really? You think that?
I saw you played more your minutes at the 3 this year.
Yeah,
but
I would say 3.
It's just so funny to me.
It's just a flex.
What do you think you are?
Yeah.
How would you categorize yourself?
A 3. I think the 4, like when I'm listed as a power forward, it cracks myself up. My whole life, my whole entire basketball life, I was the furthest thing from a power forward.
Really?
Yeah. And my entire basketball life, I had never even touched the 4 until my senior year at Carolina, when we had Nasir Little.
Yeah.
We wanted to run lineups with myself and Nasir, and just because I had like to ease his transition into college basketball, like he kind of learned the 3, and I went to Roy Williams, coach, and I was like, Coach, listen, like I know the 4, so like I'll just slide over to the 4 when we have these specific packages. But even then, it was like, wow, it's a whole new world. I got to rebound. 4. So then I get to the NBA, and they're calling me a 4.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay. It's just so funny.
Welcome to being 6'9" in the modern NBA.
I know, exactly.
Get ready to learn power
as long as you're on the court.
Yeah, it's an identity crisis.
Who do you think is the best shooter at every position in the league? So
The
point guard through center.
Steph.
We'll start with
Very
these ones.
easy,
Obviously,
very
Steph
easy.
Curry goes there.
2.
You have a lot of options.
It depends on who you count as 2.
What do you think? What comes to your mind first?
For me, Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Historically,
Isn't that crazy? A year ago, that would have sounded
You would have,
nuts.
you would have never
yeah,
thought
Clay
that.
as well.
2, huh?
I said, like, you would have never thought that Anthony Edwards, one of the most athletic guys, is just gonna take one summer, come back, and now he's one of the best shooters.
He
And
got
he did
good
that shit.
shooting mechanics.
That is true.
He does have always had. He's always shown potential to be a very, very high level shooter.
But to go from potential to, he's just like the best.
He works
of
on
the
his
best.
game.
in one summer,
It's amazing.
Shows
Yeah.
he works on his game.
So we give to him over Clay?
It's hard. Yeah, I mean Clay, like prime Clay is like,
Yeah, let's go this year though. We can go over to Ant.
3.
Yeah, small forward now.
I need to hear some names. I don't think you guys are considering
Ooh.
threes.
I mean, so you consider yourself a 3. You want to put yourself
Yeah,
in?
you could, but you're
I'm gonna
sniping
take
that
myself
business
out of
season.
conversation because I'm
Yeah.
saying I'm 1 through 5 number 1.
humble man. Okay.
You gotta have that belief in yourself as a shooter, man. Anybody who shot threes at any level knows that, like, if you don't have belief in yourself and your own abilities, you're toast.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Why are you pointing at me? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's wild.
I don't know I don't know who's doing percentage.
5. Let's just go back from the 5.
Okay, 5.
I would initially
Jokic.
say Cat.
Yeah, I'll take
I mean,
Cat
if
no
Jokic is
matter
going
what.
to
Are you calling Cat a 4 or 5?
5.
5.
Yeah.
Cat.
You would say Cat. The way Jokic is shooting this year is wild. Though.
Yeah, he's shooting 43, but he's also very like picky choosing on his
You
shots.
would think though. He's like all close to 4 attempts a game though. It's not that big of a difference anymore.
Yeah, but I think like the urgency to a closeout between
Yeah,
Jokic and Cat. Like if you leave Cat open on 3-point line, like coaches are panicking. Like
Yeah,
Yo
like, oh, shit.
might not shoot it because he just might be thinking
And he's
about
not
making
hitting
a
those
different
trailing
kind of play.
threes and coming off of pin down
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
It's a little
yeah,
different.
I think Cat's good.
Cap is a little bit more of a pure shooter.
We'll go shot
That's fair,
versatility,
that's
give it
fair.
to Cat. That makes sense. Power forward and 3. There's a lot of options.
I need some.
Kristaps Porzingis.
No,
Um,
I actually consider more of a 5.
Yeah, definitely. At this
oh
stage.
yeah, okay. At this point, that's fair.
Trying to think.
I'm trying to think in terms of percentage versus who. Because I mean, like someone like Dean Wade, I think has always shot a crazy percentage. If you want
But
to,
yeah, not like.
but the role's a little different. So I don't know.
Volume's
If
not
are we biased towards people that have a higher
Yes.
shot difficulty?
Yes,
Okay, we're going there. Do we go Jason Tatum? You know, in terms of the step backs.
you could.
So like,
But what, the 3 or the 4?
Does KD count?
Yeah.
we want to go both of them?
Yeah, you can go both of them.
Yeah.
All right, Jason Tatum and Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is pretty much a power forward these days. He really doesn't
Yeah.
play 3 anymore.
Yeah.
At least because he has 1,000 guards on his team. So maybe in a different team he'd play 3, but we can go Tatum 3, KD 4.
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
like it.
I think it's interesting because like everybody looks at the NBA and one of the big like topics is like positionless basketball. But the way you're describing is like there's still a very big transition from like playing 3 or playing 4.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's not.
There's not.
That's my
Okay.
exact point.
Okay.
Is that if you call me a 4, there is nothing on my offense and on my team that would differentiate me from anybody else. Even like it's really like okay, so I really think the proper term is you have a point guard, right?
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
have guards, wings, and bigs, and I fall into the wing category.
Okay.
So a team is comprised of any combination of guards, wings, bigs. You could play 1 guard, 3 wings, 1 big. You can have a team like Cleveland who plays 2 guards, 1 wing, 2 bigs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that's more the positions of the NBA today.
You get on the right team, you might play some center. You know, if you're on the Lakers right now, Rui Hachimura is playing center minutes. We got Dorian Finney-Smith playing a lot of center minutes. For you guys in it too, but you know,
Lob
like,
threat.
Jared Vanderbilt's playing center. Like that's how it goes these days. You know, speaking of Kevin Durant, you know, on the Suns, traded for you.
Yeah.
How does it feel? I feel like, you know, by the time your career ends, you'll probably have played for a handful of teams. You won't feel, at least I would assume, super strong connection to each individual one. But right now, you're still pretty close to the team that drafted you in terms of years removed from it.
Yeah.
How does that feel looking back at the team? Do you like keep up with how they're doing and feel any type of relationship to the organization still?
I keep up with everybody, how everybody's
Yeah,
doing. So naturally, yes, I keep up with Phoenix, but the organization has changed so much since I left.
True.
You know, ownership was going through change when I came in, and there's been management changes. There's been complete player changes, complete coaching staff changes multiple times over, performance, training, all that stuff. So it naturally removes you a little bit. Whereas if all those same exact people were still there from when I played, then I'd be, you know,
A little more nostalgic.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just it's an era in the past. It happened. We had our team. We, you know, put a lot into it. Almost came out with a championship. Didn't. You move on and you try to get one wherever you are next.
How is it playing in the NBA Finals?
Specifically
Amazing.
as a second-year
Yeah.
player, what's that like to be
Amazing.
thrusted into that? Like, what's the pressure of that like? Where
I didn't feel any.
you didn't feel any at all?
No, I felt. I think the way we were operating at that point, I think we were clicking, and it wasn't like, man, I got to do this. I got to do my role. I got to do my job. I got to do my job. I got to do what's expected of me. I got to do what's in the scouting report, and just have effort and energy, and let the results take care of themselves. And it was a lot of fun, man. And I obviously wish we could have won. Huge. It teaches you a lot. You know, being up 2-0 and losing 4, you realize the kind of how just fragile it is.
Yeah.
You know, these are 4 close games, but at the end of the day, it's like, how'd you lose 4 in a row? Like, people don't understand.
Yeah, then you see
know?
Giannis blocking shots, catching lobs, closing out.
And then
You're
it's
like,
like
oh, that's
2 3-point games. It's, you know, so we're up 20 in one game. They come back and win, you know.
Do you, when you look back at that now and you see like how the situation went down, do you like view that and you see like the Giannis stat lines, the crazy moment that team had? Or are you like,
No,
motherfuckers?
that's what I thought. Both, but that's what I thought in the
Yeah.
moment. I remember I want to say it was game 6, the last game. It was like 98-96 with like 2 minutes left, something of the sort. And I look up and he got 50 points. He got
17 free
yeah.
throws.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You made 'em all.
17. I'm like, 50 points of 98, like just, you know, and that's the mark of an all-time NBA player, MVP, you know. But all you want is just another crack at it, another shot at it. And I thought our Phoenix team was close. And, you know, the next year, obviously, we have the Mavs series, which punches you right in the gut. But then like you just funny, right?
It feels like you have a very strong memory. It feels like
I remember basically every game from NBA career.
you remember everything. So walk me through the second quarter of that game when you guys were down 45 points. What was
You
going through
really
your
want to
mind?
know? It was like try your best not to go out sad.
That's what happens in the huddles.
Like it was as gut wrenching of a sports moment as you can imagine. Because we're down 30 in the first half, and it's like you can fight. Like it's just
Bro, I
like
can feel the sorrow through his voice right now.
The vibe shifted. The air is
Damn,
cold.
I feel sad
I remember the halftime of it. I remember it's just like
At halftime, what is
message?
said? Yeah, what is like,
Like-
what's the vibe of the locker room? Obviously,
no, like
sad.
this
Yeah,
is like so it was kind of brought back to like a life perspective, honestly, in the moment where it's not like we're not talking about winning the game. We're not talking. It's not even like that. We're talking about as competitors with pride. Go out there and compete every play. Don't hang your head. Don't quit. Don't walk away. Fight the game out with your heads held high. And sometimes in life, you take losses, you take punches, and we move on and we rally to whatever may be next, which is all you can do in that situation. But you just don't think that that's going to be your last chance at it.
Yeah.
Which is so. If you would have told us that like this group will be dismantled next season and we'll never have a chance, then it would be way more emotional.
Yeah.
But in that moment, it's like I'm not going to give up. Like we're going to go right back at it and try again next year.
You mentioned the competitive aspect of it. That sounds to me like Chris Paul culture from the start. You know,
Yeah.
Chris Paul is obviously one of the greatest competitors the league's ever seen.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're in the position now of being a veteran on your team. You came to the league second year. He's your veteran. Is there anything you feel like you learned from him in those years that you still hold on to that maybe is in how you're a veteran now?
Yeah, the way he approaches the game, the way he don't when he watches, when he's not like people are playing basketball, he's not playing the same game. We just played him the other day in San Antonio, and you know he's getting older and he's not the biggest, fastest. You know he's becoming more and more physically disadvantaged by the year, but he's just so much. He has such a mental advantage on how the game operates that he can. You know he's still playing and he's still effective. I think the pace at which he plays the game and processes the game and the way he's able to complement that by his understanding of every team. So, for example, when we played them, he knew our pick and roll coverage, and our pick and roll coverage had been pretty successful to that point. But of course, as always, he's probably watched it, you know, all of our last 5 games and knows exactly how we're going to guard. And you can tell he had their team operating on a high level, and they were just kind of like clockwork attacking our coverages and finding advantages, and it put us behind.
I know
And they beat us.
I know a lot of NBA players in the past have said like, since they're so like entrenched in the NBA season, it's hard to step outside of what you do and watch other teams. How was that process for you? Are you watching basketball consistently?
Yeah, it's a balance. Some days you just need to get away. Like I like to liken it to you. If you say the same word too many times, it starts to sound ridiculous. Sometimes if you don't have the correct mental balance and you just like kind of just go so deep into basketball that like it just starts to look strange.
Yeah.
We're dribbling this round ball and we're thrown into a hole and doing everything we can in
Your
our
life
power.
your life
And then
revolves
there's-
around that ball. It's
and
crazy.
And there's 15, 16, 20,000 people watching. It's just like, huh?
what are
So,
we
like,
doing?
you gotta have that. Right.
Makes
and
sense.
we're throwing it from all around the place and celebrating this, and it's just like,
Yeah. And people hate me if I miss it. People love me if I make it. What
and
the
then
hell?
there's the gamblers on top of that are on your every move. So it's just like
And now some people hate you if you make it too much.
you have to have that balance. You have to have that balance where, you know, I like to throw the games on in the back and just watch, but some days I do just need to get away, put a show on, take a nap, take a walk, spend time with family and friends. So there's that balance. But I think the one thing that always helps is perspective and just having an appreciation for the situation, having an appreciation for being in the league, knowing that these opportunities are finite. You know, eventually I'll be done. And when I'm done, there's a high likelihood that I'm never going to be able to play an NBA level again.
Yeah.
If you weren't in the league, what would you be doing for a job? Because I know you have a communication major, and obviously we all do too.
So my education was tailored around basketball, if I'm being completely honest. It's
You
just
weren't
how it
studying
is.
for all your exams? What? You were in the lab?
No, I had a really I was a 3.9 in college. I had a great, I got one B and one B plus in my undergrad.
In what classes?
B in microeconomics my freshman year because we went to Maui Invitational. Listen, I was fine in the class. We went to Maui for a week. I was in Hawaii, and our final was 1 or 2 days when I got back from the trip.
Oh, that's
I wasn't looking over it. So I walked into the final like, I'm not prepared. So I ended up being in that class. I got a B plus in public law and moral reasoning, which was actually a little bit more of a, class was actually a little more challenging. It was a good class. Very good class, though. Cool class. But
Moral reasoning sounds challenging. That
a
sounds
lot
like it's
more
not quite
reasoning.
easy.
Yeah. So, I was like, I think that I was over time a capable student, in high school and stuff. So if you were to ask me that, I have to ask, at what point did I put down the hoop dreams?
Let's say your second year at Pitt.
Oh, So if it was my second year at Pitt that I actually put down my professional aspirations, then I would have already been en route to my communications degree. So then I would probably had 2 years, which I did have 2 years to play to pursue a master's. Yeah. Then at that point, I probably would have stayed at Pitt and pursued a master's in business. I would have got my MBA and gone from there. If we're saying at that point, if we take it even further back, it would have influenced my college decision on where I played. I might have gone to an Ivy League school or something. If we take it even further back, then I probably would have.
There's layers to this.
This is a great answer.
Yeah.
Every time we ask this,
I hear this question so much.
We asked at the combine last year, we asked Rob Dillingham or some other rookie that's just getting drafted, and they're like, probably a coach.
So I'll give this just to kind of tie it together. My senior year of high school, my junior year of high school, even both those 2 years, I altered my class schedule based on what I was going to take. So I think originally my junior year of high school, I might have signed up for an AP Chem class and a CHS physics class. My senior year of high school, I was in Calc BC and
Smart guy.
Scholar Lit. But I'm like, what am I doing? It's decisions. It's like I'm like, this lit class, I got so much writing. This calc class, like, I'll just do it in college. Like, I'm going to scale these 2 classes down or 3, whatever it was at the time, and focus a little more on the hoop. So these are decisions that I made consciously going throughout, which is like I tried to have the balance. I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. There's no guarantee.
Bro, he's been woke since birth. What the hell?
That's my parents. They made sure of that.
And how is that? What's their background that makes that so obvious to you immediately?
They're serious parents, first of all.
They're serious.
I see your face work up when you say serious.
For as a lot of people will call them strict. For as strict as they were, they're also pretty real. I'll give you some real examples where on my SATs, I didn't get quite the score up. My older brother was really smart, like crazy smart. So all these things academically, I'm trying to chase him. So on my SATs, I was like, oh man, like I could have got a higher score. I'm gonna take it again. My dad looked at me and said, why are you gonna waste your money? Your score is perfectly fine to get you into college.
Wow, that's so real.
It's real. Like, what is that gonna prove? Okay, pat myself on the back. I'm like, dang, you're right. Like,
do you remember what your score was?
1960. I should have done.
And that was on the 2400 scale?
On the 2400.
That's great. I took it on the 1600s. I don't even know how good that is.
And then the ACT was the same way. I tried to chase my brother. He had a 34. I think I had a 32. And I was
pretty good
like,
score.
should I try again and try to beat him? Should I try again and try to beat him? Again, same thing. What's the point? And
that's just competitive. That's
exactly.
all that is.
Just dog, bro.
Yeah. I'm sitting there like, there's another example. And I don't think I've ever shared any of these stories. I'm sitting there. I was thinking about going to Penn. And I was like, maybe, Wharton. I had a neighbor that went to Wharton. He was a great student, still doing great to this day. And I was like, man, maybe that should just be the path for me. And my mom was like, are you sure?
Tweaking.
Are you sure? Don't you complain about school enough?
Just like, know yourself a little bit.
So just those funny moments like that, like they're strict and they're serious and they push us to be our absolute best and do not settle for anything less than that. But they're also real along the path, and they've helped guide me and make sure that, I was not a top 100 player in high school. I was not a McDonald's All-American. I was not the most highly recruited guy. So there's not, you can never put all your eggs in being in the NBA. But I've chased that dream. I chased that dream. So it was kind of like scaled, like, you know, it's like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna put all my eggs in that basket. I'm gonna put a little more. You know, I'm gonna put a little more. And so all my academic decisions were kind of a result of that. And I've recently thought about what I might do if I went back to school after playing.
And what's that?
I have a couple of interests. I'm going to we'll see. Stay tuned.
Okay.
My vote is you'll be a counselor for college students, bro. You know exactly what you're talking about. Specifically students who are like up there basketball wise.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
So I actually I had an advisor in undergrad that actually put me on this path, which is really important to my career. So I was just going to major in something in the business school in undergrad. But I had some credits transfer over from high school. When I was in there early, I enrolled early at Pitt. I did all the summer sessions before my freshman year, so I just gathered a lot of credits quickly. And so kind of maybe second semester of my second year, I was planning to declare my major. Okay, what do I need? My advisor sat me down and was like, hey, listen, you are halfway through to an arts and sciences degree. If we declare communication as your major, you only got 60 credits to go. You can nail that square in 3 years, and then you'll have 2 years to do your master's. You can do your master's in business, which on scholarship as a student athlete, which would be even better than, an undergrad and whatever, and whatever, undergrad business program I chose in 4 years, and then maybe 1 year to start a master's of some sort. So I took that home to my parents, and everybody was on board with that. But what it actually ended up doing was I graduated after that third year, which allowed me to be a graduate transfer, not have to sit out and go to Carolina for those last 2 years.
It all worked out. Shout out to that counselor, put you on this path.
Yeah, Babs. Her name was Babs.
Shout out to Babs. Everyone needs a Babs in their life, bro.
We're almost out of time with you, so I want to do one last thing before I get you out of here and on to your next part of your day. I want to name 2 NBA players. I want you to tell me who's more difficult to guard.
Okay.
You're playing that 3-4, the mix like you said.
Yeah.
So you probably have a lot of experience guarding these guys. Paolo Banchero or Zion Williamson?
It feels like guarding Zion is just trying to guard like just a bowling ball every single play. That seems harder than a little bit like just physically harder than Paolo.
Yeah. He kind of nailed it.
Shout out.
Paolo's a little taller, but Zion is quick and very like heavy and strong. Like he's, you trying to put all this effort into holding him up, and he kind of wiggling around. I'd say Zion.
He's been so insane lately. Now he's healthy again. It's crazy. Kawhi Leonard or Kevin Durant? 2 impossible tasks, but which one for you? Let's say for you, your perspective.
I think
defender
KD's
you are.
height.
Okay.
And maybe just like Kawhi's stronger, yes, but KD might have just a little bit more wiggle and a little bit more.
I think trying to guard KD is like hopeless. It feels hopeless.
That's actually kind of right. Not that it's hopeless.
I can see
but
you
like,
remembering times.
exactly.
My point is with KD, you can play great defense and he'll still make a shot. So it's not gonna, I guess maybe on one hand you're less likely to be look crazy. Like if you're guarding somebody like a Kai or like James Harden, especially in his prime.
Oh yeah,
they have the propensity. They can make you look silly. You better make sure your feet are planted on the ground.
KD's like, it was a good contest.
Right.
It wasn't.
So KD, I mean, he's one of the best scorers ever played a game. I get KD.
Okay. Tatum versus Shea.
So different.
These are tough questions.
It is.
Yeah,
They're very good scores. Both of them very good scores. At this point right now,
and you can do from your perspective on like your body type, who what's harder.
yeah,
for you
like I would rather guard the taller guy.
Yeah.
So Shea, with the leverage and angles that he's really, really, really good at, I'd say Shea.
Is it harder? Like generally, is it harder guarding guys who are shorter than you?
In terms of containing, yes, but in terms of contesting, then it becomes easier.
Okay.
Like that's the whole point with like KD is that like maybe it's slightly easier to contain him and not get blown by, but then you suffer a little bit on the contest. A smaller guy, if you force him to shoot a shot, maybe that you are a little more comfortable with, you might be able to get a better contest, or you might be stronger and be able to kind of move them off their spot a little bit more. So there's balances, and in the NBA, a lot of the times, guys can score from any spot, so it's also kind of like trying to get them to shoot the shot that they don't want to shoot.
Yeah, this year with Shea, what shot does he not want to shoot?
Yeah,
it's pretty tough.
So these are tough questions, man.
Yeah.
These are tough questions, and these guys are all NBA players for a reason.
For sure. Well, that's all the time we got with you today, man. We appreciate you coming through. It was a great conversation.
Thank you.
Shout out Babs. Shout out everything we talked about.
Shout out to Babs. A word to Babs.
Appreciate you coming through, man.
Thank you, guys.
We're back. What was y'all's favorite part of that interview? You know, always got to have a little debrief afterwards. What was the favorite thing he talked about?
Man, he gave so much depth into what he was talking about, whether it be like the trade stuff, what gets him going on the NBA court, the growth that he's made offensively and shit like that. I think what was the most insightful thing was when he was talking about the trade stuff, probably, because obviously I'm like, when it comes to basketball, all the like techniques and all that, and his decision process when it comes to college and shit, like, out of everything, like I can somewhat relate to everything except being traded. I will never be traded in my entire life. It's impossible. At least I hope so.
You better do better in some drafts. You better start winning some drafts, or shit might get spooky.
I got a no trade clause. I'm on my Bradley Beal type shit. Not happening, bro. So I think his feelings and emotions towards that and the realness and awareness of it, like, was very, very like humanizing in a sense.
Yeah. My favorite part is whenever I accidentally correctly guessed that Cam Thomas loves NBA YoungBoy. That was the funniest part to me.
That's a layup. That's a layup. You could like,
I know.
You can say that about probably like 85% of NBA players.
I just knew. It just felt right, and it was. That was funny. Yeah, man. Great talk. I love that interview. It was one of my favorite ones you've done. Let's talk about some NBA news. Let's keep going with this episode. As I mentioned in the intro, we are in March, and as you guys both know, there is nothing in this world less real than March basketball. It's just the place, the land before time. It is outside of the realm of what is reality for us. It's just nonsense. So many teams are tanking. So many teams are resting stars. So many players are getting opportunities they wouldn't normally. So there's crazy performances every year. We call this the Jalen Green time of year. Every year, he goes berserk in March and convinces everybody he's going to be a star the next year. Then he gets back to regular Jalen Green. So we're going to talk about the biggest headlines right now of March basketball. And you guys are going to tell me what's real and what's not.
Let's go through it. If there was ever an argument to shorten the season, it would be March basketball.
March basketball.
Like you
don't want to see
pick
that?
any game from March 1st to March 31st and be like, are you watching this? Like we don't need like 16 of these games in March.
Yeah.
You just don't have to have it.
With that being said, though, half the league is currently playing fake basketball, tanking. It's just, this year especially, it is a just nasty tank race right now for Cooper Flag. The bottom half of the league is all doing it. It's pretty crazy compared to like the past couple of years where we had this like brief era where most teams were trying to make the play in. Shit's dead this year.
Being
but
super
after that,
competitive.
though,
Listen.
yeah,
I kind of like it, right? You're restoring the feeling of a good tank race. We have the Thunder. Listen, the Thunder and the Cavs are both 56-12. They are fighting for the top seed. I'm on Tankathon daily.
Yep.
Looking at who lost, looking at who is really out here putting out the most disgusting lineups in order to try and capture the flag. And at this point, because you don't get the best odds if you're the worst team, you're doing this for the love of the game. Right, like you're doing that just because you love the process.
Half the league is doing that love of the game tanking, but the other half, especially out west, there's a lot of seeding implications going on right now. So while the Eastern Conference is borderline unwatchable on the bottom half, there's a lot going on in the West. True. A lot of teams peaking at the right time. So it's not all bullshit. There's gonna be some stuff we see here that is real and does matter a lot for the coming playoffs. So should be a good mixed bag. We'll decide which parts of this are worth paying attention
I'm still stuck up on Donovan saying that he's checking Tankathon like it's the goddamn weather app. Like you have nothing. you should be detached out of all of us. Except maybe Isaac. You should be the most detached when it comes to the Tankathon shit. I know me personally, I'm avoiding the fuck out of it for reasons that don't need to be discussed once again.
Oh, they will be though. They will be. We'll talk about that. First story I think we have to talk about, the one that I find most interesting. The Minnesota Timberwolves have figured it out. This right now, over the last 15 games or so, since Julius Randle has returned, they've only lost twice. Or actually only lost once, I think, this most recent game.
Yes.
They have completely figured out the Julius Randle fit. They are currently playing like the most dangerous team in the NBA that nobody's talking about. Everything is going well for the Timberwolves after going so wrong to start the year after the cat trade, in which we all said, you did it. You destroyed the Anthony Edwards era before it started. Doom and gloom was at an all-time high. A lot of reactionary takes because it looked really bad after looking really good last year. They've seemingly normalized, and I think over this stretch in which they're 13-1 with Julius Randle, they look like the team that we thought they'd be to start the year when we like decided to look at it positively and convinced ourselves they'd be like the 4 or 5 seed. I think I had them 4. You guys had them around the same range. We said, while we don't like it long term, Julius brings some skills that offensively will give them a different look, the playmaking, the extra spacing of Dante DiVincenzo, all this stuff. That wasn't there to start the year. It is now. And I think we're kind of seeing the vision that Tim Connelly had when he put the team together.
Two things. One, I do want to point out before I get into the Timberwolves stuff, it is very funny how Mo has shown us that his iPad is dead and cooked, and he is still holding it like it works. I think that's very funny. I think that's very funny.
It's with me in my heart.
To shout out to Julius Randle for like a 100%, because I think early on in the season we were coming up here all the time, and I was saying like, oh yeah, I'm back out, like I'm out on the Timberwolves, and a lot of that was because we were talking about Julius Randle's attitude, his effort on the defensive end, and there was times where it just looked so clear like he just wasn't trying. The offense was it felt like Anthony Edwards was there, and then you didn't get the 2023 or 2024 version of Julius Randle. You were getting 2020 Julius Randle, like or 2021 Julius Randle, the version of him with the Knicks where he had his all NBA season and he's just going straight bully ball. I'm going to the post. I'm getting mine. I'm not passing the ball to anybody. If it comes to me, I'm going to try and work. And you've seen the chemistry just blossom and grow exponentially over the last 15, 20 games where like their 2-man game is legit dangerous and it feels like his effort has gone up. And also just a recognition. This is Anthony Edwards' team. Let me do the stuff to help Anthony Edwards be in a good position. And because of that, I'm going to eat for free. Like I don't have to work as hard, because if Anthony Edwards is going off and he's getting all the easy touches, he's going downhill. Defenses have to adjust to that, and then Julius Randle can then go to work and get his buckets from an easy perspective.
You focused there on Julius Randle and like his attitude and stuff. I know what you're saying. That was a common talking point early in the year. The body language on the whole team was quite terrible. Anthony Edwards complained to the media every other day. The vibes were not good all around the locker room. I don't really blame it on Julius Randle's attitude. I think that part was a little overblown. I think the basketball fit was just terrible to start the year. They needed a lot of adjusting to figure out how to play Julius Randle, the slashing guard who plays an entirely different way than Karl-Anthony Towns, shoots with an entirely different rhythm. He's not quite the space the floor, quick twitch, I'm going to pull these threes in a second's notice. It altered the spacing completely. Gobert took a step back. That made him less effective on both ends to start the year. So like you combine that with Jamie Daniels not playing well, everything was just kind of wonky. And I think it was a lot more the basketball fit was terrible. And they've just figured out really smart ways to deploy him now that I don't even know if he's like necessarily more bought in or a better spirit in the locker room, whatever. I don't know. But like, they've just done some clear ways that they're playing better and how they utilize him. And I think the main thing is they don't have him space in the corner nearly as much. In the beginning of the year, it was like Gobert pick and rolls, Randle, you space the floor, attack when you can. And now they're doing a lot more Julius Randle, you be the pick and roll guy with Ant. Like you said, the 2-man game is special. And Gobert is posted up in the dunker spot. And Randle's got a lot better at finding those reads, hitting him there.
Yes.
Even outside the Gobert thing. They really were thriving the best when Gobert was missing those games and they started Nas Reed at center because they had 5-out lineups where Randle was rolling downhill as a roll man with full 5-out spacing, Nas Reed, Jay McDaniels in the corner, Dante DiVincenzo on the wing with Ant. The spacing was crazy and Julius Randle just has all the space in the world to attack the paint. At times it's felt like Russell Westbrook on the Rockets when they had the spaced out lineup to really accommodate him. That's kind of how it is now. So maybe Julius Randle is a better teammate now and all that stuff, but I think they just figured out a lot of better ways to deploy him to give him a better chance.
Yes, I 110% agree. When it comes to, out of all of us, when it comes to this trade, I was the highest because I tried to be optimistic through the Julius Randle experience, which is like there's highs and there's lows. He's the most high and low like NBA player there is. But a part of the reasons why I was like kind of high on this whole entire situation was because I'm like, oh shit, like you get one of the best 3-point shooters in the league last year, one of the 3 best shooters in the league last year in Dante DiVincenzo, and he's been back throughout this stretch as well, and he's been absolutely balling out of his mind, and he's been the normal Dante DiVincenzo finally after, I don't know, 50 games, and he just came back through his injury around the same time as Julius Randle. So that has helped a lot. But I agree with you 100%. The pacing and spacing feels so much better, and they feel like there's so much in sync. And then on top of that too, like through the absence of Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, like you have to dish out some more offensive responsibility. And we're seeing a mid-season leap through guys like Jaden McDaniels. I pointed to it, I believe, a couple podcast episodes ago, and he's been nothing but kept on going, kept that level of growth steady. And he's been great as of late too. Now, I will say, they are on this list of teams for a reason when it comes to figuring out whether this is fake basketball or not. Because if we take a look at their schedule,
Okay.
specifically, they've played a whole lot of nothing. Okay.
He's holding the iPad while looking at the phone.
The iPad gives me powers, bro. I think it's presence. It's kind of like, never mind. Let me not say that. Phoenix, Philadelphia, Charlotte, Miami, Spurs, Denver, okay, cool, Orlando, Utah, Indiana. That's not a whole lot of real basketball teams that you're playing right now. So much fugaziness is happening right now. But regardless of the fact, they're doing their job.
Yes, and I think there's okay. So for like contenders, I think I'll say this. As teams, when teams start to go on a run in March, I tend to believe that a little bit more than when players go on a run in March, because the teams, like, even though that they're playing like stinkers, you've seen throughout the season, you've seen teams have like easy stretches of games, and the ones that are at the top, you take care of business, right? Like if they were coming out here and they were losing to Utah, they were losing to all these bad teams, then we would point at this and we would say it's very, very real. At a baseline level, we do have to give them credit for just showing up and beating the teams that are in front of them, and also to make that run to get to a position where they can get out of the play-in. Shout out to them. I also think that for everything that Isaac said, one of the kind of like underrated things about Julius Randle's game is that whenever he is making quick decisions, he's a pretty good playmaker. And so,
that's been the best part.
Yes.
Yeah, and so that was one of the reasons why we were bought in, is because yes, you don't get the shooting that Cat does, but you get another playmaker, and that was something that we needed Ant to step up as, and you needed just more of that on the team, especially with Mike Conley getting older. So I think now that you are putting Julius Randle in a position to where he can be a little bit more of a playmaker, have easier reads, be quicker with the ball, that in itself, I do believe that. Like, I don't care who they're playing. I've seen enough of that over the past 2-3 weeks or whatever, to where now I look at them going into the playoffs like, no, they're dangerous. And if they get to the 6th seed and they end up playing like a Houston or they play a Memphis, for me, they're probably going to be the favorite in that series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is fully real. I don't think any of this is unsustainable. You mentioned Jaden McDaniels. 2 years ago, a year ago, all on board. Jaden McDaniels is worth the contract. He is one of these wings we can look at and say we can imagine him making a like close to all-star level leap, elite role player leap, whatever you want to call it, because we can see him getting more opportunity with the ball in his hands. That didn't go well at all to start the year. It was kind of fucking atrocious the way he was playing. Since then, I got pulled up last 22 games, 17.6 points, 7.9 rebounds, way more effective on the boards. With Gobert out, he needed to really up that level of physicality, and he has. His 2-point percentage went from 55 to almost 60. True shooting from 55 to 60. He's shooting 35% from three, which is perfectly good enough. He has made this big leap in this efficiency because he's been a mid-range demon. He has had the on-ball chops. He's getting to his mid-range spots. He's really killing it for like floater range, those short mid-range opportunities. It feels real to me that he's making the leap we finally expected. This would be the part that if any of this is fake, I guess it would be this, because we've seen stretches where it's not. But I'm going to choose to believe that Jaden McDaniels is real. Everything we talk about with Randle, to me, that is 100% real. That's all stuff that we were so down on them to start the year because we expected this to happen and it didn't. Mm-hmm. We were so pissed at the organization for seemingly fucking this up because we had expectations that even though we don't like the trade, we don't think we would do it, we still expect them to be good enough to contend around Anthony Edwards and not fall off a cliff. So when they did seemingly fall off a cliff in a way that we didn't expect them to, it was like, oh, now I'm pissed because you just spoiled what was an awesome team.
Yes.
And we thought it'd be awesome because we thought this would happen. We thought the playmaking would look better. We thought him in space would be effective. They'd find a way to build around his strengths and get the most of his bully ball with Naz Reid at center and get the spacing around him. So now they're just doing all the things we thought they would. I don't feel like any of it is fake, right? Like what could happen? Julius Randle can stop shooting well and it could just fall off a cliff in the playoffs like we've seen before. In the last 15 games, he's shooting 27% from three. So he's already not shooting well. So is that going to happen in the playoffs and make them fall off? You're not starting from some hot shooting stretch anyways. So I don't see any way that this becomes a completely different team come playoff time.
Yeah, and I think
I 100% agree.
Yeah, and in the past, like his bad playoff runs, he's also like been hurt going into playoff runs. So I think like this playoff run is going to be really interesting because I want to see him on a fully healthy team. Now they're clicking at the right time. I want to see what that looks like, and also like I think we always do this where like we forget that there's like a real human element to it, whereas like Julius Randle's going from a situation where he was on that team for 4 years and just suddenly traded out of the blue. Now he has to go to a new team, fit in with an ascending superstar again, because Brunson's ascension was kind of the same thing where like he comes in, you think that like, yeah, he'll be fine, but he's not going to be Jalen Brunson, you know, king of New York, the captain, all that stuff. So now he has to go through that entire process again. He also, again, not to hate, but he moves from New York to Minneapolis, which is also kind of crazy. And so there's this whole adjustment period that we probably didn't give him enough, you know, grace through. But even at the end of his Knicks tenure, like the Knicks were good when the Knicks because remember they went on that run where it was Brunson, OG, and Julius Randle right after that trade, and they were 15-1 and everything was rolling, and then Randle turns his ankle and all that stuff. So we've seen him have buy-in with other stars before. It just took way, way more time than we thought it did. And so we didn't give him the grace and the time to kind of grow through everything. So I am buying back in on the Timberwolves. I understand that I'm going to have to pay a premium for the stock because I sold at a very, very down time. But yeah, everything that they're doing is real, and like they could beat several teams out west in the series, and it wouldn't surprise me.
I think there's two things about what you just said. So one, there's a pattern here. They trade for Rudy Gobert. He plays next to Anthony Edwards, and it takes some adjustment period. The first year is bad. Second year is elite. They needed time to figure out how to play with each other, how to occupy the right spots of the court, and just, you know, the general rhythm it takes to play with certain players. You developed it over time. Nothing's overnight. And that proved to be a fit that needed a good amount of time, but they eventually figured it out. Again, they trade for Julius Randle. He plays with Gobert. And
right before camp. Before camp too.
It needed time. So clearly this is a pattern, whether it's a general rule that players do need time to figure out how to play each other. That is true. Also, I just feel like Gobert is a player that requires a lot of time. He brings some good strength. And
it's his fault.
Awful weaknesses that
it's
makes
Gobert's
it
fault.
No, low key it is. Like he was really bad to start the year offensively, and he makes it really hard to fit. I think if he had missed time to start the year and Naz Reid was starting from day one next to Julius Randle, it would have been an easier fit for him. So the pattern here is it takes a while to figure out how to play with Rudy Gobert and Anthony Edwards as a slasher who wants to get downhill. It probably takes time to figure out how to get to work with him. So we can learn from this that this will be a common theme, right? So maybe Tim Connolly is necessarily not as dumb as people made him seem in the beginning of the year, and the plan was always worthwhile. But also, I don't feel that bad about being down on them to start the year, is the other half of this. Like, they were playing poorly. It didn't make sense on paper for certain reasons, and all you can do is react to what was going on. While it's true, like we learned that they needed more time, I don't feel that bad about saying I don't like
it also looked bad. It looked bad.
Yeah, they were not playing good. I don't feel that bad about it. This isn't one that I'm happy to be wrong about them, but I'm not going to be like, oh, we were so stupid. Like, they looked horrible, and that's fine.
Yeah, so it seems like we're in all agreement that this feels like pretty real. Everything's happening at the right time for them. Anthony Edwards within himself, too. Like, we haven't even talked about him, but he's been going nuclear in his own right, you know? And that, I don't want to say that's like not surprising or whatever, but he's doing exactly what a young 22, 23-year-old superstar should be doing at this point in time. And
what do you think he's averaging for the last 20 games?
20 games, 30.
30 points, 5 assists, 6.2 rebounds, 60% true shooting. This is a top 7 player in the world for the last 20 games. And it wasn't that far off before that. The previous 47 games was 26 points. He's definitely leveled up. So I'm glad you mentioned that. That's why I feel so good about them. They have this new versatile look where they're dominating teams when they have lineups with Julius Randle and 5-out spacing. They have Gobert, obviously, with which we know in the right matchups, he's still very good and is good in, like, against Denver specifically, very important. Anthony Edwards is ascending. Their depth is at an all-time high with Dante healthy. Jay McDaniels is ascending. This is all the recipes needed for a team that's pretty hard to deal with in a playoff setting. A versatile team with top-end talent.
You have no idea how
Look, these
irritated I
Saints.
was as like the standalone guys. This trade isn't that bad, dude. On this podcast, seeing Dante DiVincenzo, who I was selling super high, buying hella high on. He was shooting like 28% from three. Since he's been back, it's been up to like 48%. Obviously, that's a little bit out of this earth, but on 9 attempts per game. This is the exact guy who helps make this Julius Randle trade make even more sense, considering the lack of firepower in terms of what you lose in Carl Anthony Towns and what you replace him with Julius Randle, and also the playmaking that Julius Randle provides. And you guys are right in terms of his processing speeds being a lot quicker, and him being one of the few players in the league at his size to be able to like dish out certain passes and whatnot. Ultra valuable to have one of those guys, and now I think their ceiling is at a different level. How high is it? I don't know, but it's there.
If the playoffs start today, they play the Rockets. I don't want to disrespect the Rockets too much. They're playing pretty good basketball as of late too. They won 7 in a row. They've really gone over that midseason slump they went through. I don't know who I'd pick to win that series. It would take a lot of consideration. Like, there's some matchups I'll say you're clapping the Rockets. Like, I think the Warriors would beat the Rockets. I'd feel good about that. I'm not going to go that far with this. There's a good chance I would pick the Timberwolves. A lot more than I would say early in the
I
season.
would go 60-40 Minnesota right now. It's probably how I'm feeling about that. But you,
yeah, I was thinking 55-45, but that's fair.
yeah, you can sway me, and I'm giving obviously Minnesota the boost just because you have the best player in the series. That always like moves me a little bit. So yeah, that's probably the extra like 5%.
There's a big gap though. There's a big gap between like the best player on the series and then like whoever might be the best player on the Houston Rockets. I review that. There's a big gap.
I might go bigger gap. I might lean even more towards the Timberwolves because the Rockets, what makes them so special is you're right. They're never going to have the best player in the playoff series in any matchup on this bracket, I don't think. But they're going to have the best like 3 through 10. The Rockets' depth is incredible. Their defensive talent up and down the roster is amazing. Hey man, they don't have that much of a talent gap at any point in the roster because the Timberwolves. They're deep too. And the Rockets have a coaching advantage, I think. Not a huge one. I don't know what the argument is for the Rockets to beat the Timberwolves. Now I'm thinking about it. They're both the Timberwolves have been a top 10 defense for a long time too. So like it's not like it's gonna be a defensive bout that the Rockets are gonna bloody their hands and just beat them at this transition offensive rebounding attack the Timberwolves can't keep up with. They're also a big bruising defense too when they want to be. So like,
yeah, they've been top 10 in the entire. Like, if there's one thing that's been consistent with the T-Wolves outside of the first 20 games, they've been their defense for the most part of the season, and that's remained stale. So, when it comes to figuring out advantages for the Rockets, you better hope Jalen Green gets some magnet balls going, right? That's one thing that I can say. He has to get those magnet balls flowing. Amen Thompson has to be fully unleashed. I think he's been out over the last few games, but I'm assuming he's going to be back normal, healthy. For Van Vliet, bro, everything has to be clicking at all-time high. But I'm the most worried about like Alfred Sengun and how he's going to be able to deal with Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, all these big guys around. I don't know how he'll be able to be effective in that matchup, and so that's why I'd like probably take the Timberwolves. Yeah, I
like that for Rockets fans and for Sengun. Like Rockets fans obviously are higher on Sengun first option than we are. Mm-hmm. By all means, you should be. It's your team. I'm not mad at you for it. This is a good test of that because this is a team that has offensive threats that'll test them defensively. One of the greatest defensive players of all time in Gobert, who's not quite playing at his peak anymore, but still incredibly good. Like. This is a very good test to see just how equitable an Alperen Sengun-led offense is.
I 100% agree. It's just going to take a lot for me to pick Houston in a series. I think that's been one of the things that I've kind of decided in October, where like even with their growth, I needed to see like a lot more, and we've seen kind of time after time those struggles. But I think for them, like maybe if McDaniels, if his hot shooting comes down, like if you can make him uncomfortable, because obviously like Ant is probably at that level now where you are like, okay, we're just gonna try and slow him down. He's probably still gonna get his and all that. If you can try and make McDaniels uncomfortable, continue to have Julius Randle shoot poorly from the 3-point line affect the quote unquote, the margins in this series, that's where the Rockets are going to have to win. Because they're not going to come in and blow out the Timberwolves. They're probably going to win some close games, some gritty games and stuff like that. And you're going to have to get wins where you can. And the McDaniels matchup is going to be key for them, making sure that Mike Conley doesn't get off, making sure that Dante doesn't have a great series. Like those are the guys that they're probably going to have to key on in order to really get over that hump.
Those are too many questions that the Rockets.
I know,
have
which
to
is
answer,
why.
though.
Like,
that's why at the end of the day, I might lean towards the T-Wolves.
So the T-Wolves have won. They're 8-2 in the last 10 games, but they have not moved up the standings at all. They are still number 7 on this list because we got to talk about this other team that is also 8-2 in their last 10, also beating the hell out of everybody, also poses the question, is this real? The Golden State Warriors. Since they got Jimmy Butler, they have been outright dominant. They are a top 10 offense, top 10 defense, of course. They are second in net rating in this time. Well, that was before these last 2 games, so it's probably changed. I haven't checked. But when the last look, they were second in net rating. Jimmy Butler has completely transformed this team. They have went from being 27th in free throws to like 4th. The rim offense went from like 18th to 6th. They're generating the most corner threes in the league since getting Jimmy Butler. Steph Curry is playing like Steph Curry again. Now he's not having to do it all. It's pretty much gone exactly as expected. They have had a rather cupcake schedule, but they've been beating the hell out of those cupcakes. They've been eating the shit out of the cupcakes. And the last 2 games, they lost to the undermanned Denver Nuggets in a game in which they shot like 12% from 3. It was a nightmare. Stuff like that happens. I don't care too much. Big picture. And then last night, they beat the Bucks without Steph Curry. So there's a lot of good sample size. There's a really bad loss and a really good win. Overall, how are you feeling about this new era of the Warriors? Are they for real?
100% for real. And people should be scared because obviously like the Jimmy insertion onto the team, like that's great. Like, and for me, it's more than I could have hoped because I thought that like best case scenario, you bring Jimmy in, you're better, you're different, but I don't think that you're championship level. Do I still think that they're championship level, like on the same level as OKC and Cleveland and Boston and all that? No. Listen, it can get scary, right? Like it can get, that's what I'm saying. It can get scary. And when you start getting deeper into the playoffs, a turned ankle, a bad injury, a weird shooting stretch, like you can propel forward and you just want to put yourselves in those situations. That's all great. The biggest thing is just the fact that Steph Curry doesn't have to do everything. And you allow Steph to be freer in the way that he plays and he can pick his shots. He doesn't have to chuck as many wild threes as needed because Jimmy can also create offense for everybody else. And to have Steph and his gravity and then have a connector like Draymond Green and then also another connector like Jimmy Butler who can connect everybody else but also make plays for himself, that's all they needed. They've been waiting for honestly like the last 3 years for somebody else who can dribble and make plays for himself. You got that for a month and a half out of Andrew Wiggins in 2022. You've been missing it for 2 years. Jimmy Butler is that, and that's why they are 100% real.
You know what's so interesting? If I was to close my eyes and you tell me this way back in the past, like December, November, whatever, Jimmy Butler ends up getting traded to the Warriors, and the Warriors, they go on like this pretty impressive run in the second half of the year. I would sit down and be like, damn, like Jimmy Butler's fully back. He's a top, clear as day, top 12, 10 player, or whatever you feel like he is around that time. I would assume he's fucking hooping out of his mind. But he's just averaging 17 points and he's shooting like 22% from the field. That is like
from 3.
From 3. That is ridiculous seeing how again he's much better than what his stats say. I'm not taking away from whatsoever, but this is not even like the best version of Jimmy Butler that we've seen yet. Mm-hmm. So
there's still room for playoff Jimmy Butler to come out. Exactly.
So him and his style that he's like the reserve style that he likes to play at right now has moved mountains, and to know that there's probably another gear in him. He is 35, 36 years old or whatever he is, or whatever it is. And I understand like he may not be the same. Who knows? But I just feel like there's some more juice in there, which makes me believe like, they got a chance against anyone in the entire NBA if this team is humming at that level.
I don't even give a fuck if there's another level for him to get to or not. He can play like this, and I still am moved by them. Like he can be a brick from 3. I mean, he needs to hit some threes at some point, but he can be a non-threatening scorer overall compared to what he used to be. And I still think they're extremely good for all the reasons we talked about with Jimmy Butler for years. He is one of the biggest stats don't tell the whole story guy in the entire NBA. And you know who's the biggest of all time in that regard? The biggest stats don't tell the whole story? Draymond Green. So now you got both of them. You got both the intangible kings, and the combined impact of them is so goddamn massive. Like I mentioned at the top, he brings incredible ability to get to the free throw line, something they've never had. He's currently getting fouled on 25.5% of his field goal attempts.
Merchant.
That's ridiculous. I would say it's unsustainable, but it's kind of just what Jimmy Butler does. In previous years, it's been like 22%. So if it's unsustainable, just barely. And, Steph Curry went from 22 points per game on 50% from two without Jimmy Butler to, since the trade, 29 points on 60% from two. His life is much better, much easier. If you're going to be serious, you need Steph Curry to be a top 5 player in the world. And seemingly, I don't know, maybe it's just correlation, not causation. Seems like getting Jimmy Butler has really enabled Steph Curry to get back to that level of play for all the reasons that's been talked about. Mm-hmm. That's real. The non-Steph minutes, you play Jimmy Butler ball when you're not quite as efficient because you're not playing through the best offensive player of a generation, but you're getting to the line a lot. You're winning the turnover battle. Your defense is really good because you have him and Draymond at the court. That feels sustainable to me. Seems like a nightmare in the playoffs to deal with the Steph Curry offense. He goes to the bench, and now you have to guard the 2020 Miami Heat playing through Jimmy Butler that same way. That seems like a nightmare. Everything just makes sense because you add Jimmy Butler, you fix a lot of weaknesses they had, and you also just like slot guys who are asked to do too much. You just push them down into the right pecking order. None of us liked Kuminga because Warriors fans expected him to be the second star and make this leap with the ball in his hands. That was never going to be him, right? I like it a lot more now that he can be a just pure slasher, play finisher that plays off of Jimmy Butler gravity and next to Quentin Post to stretch 5 now, which he didn't have before.
Yeah.
I like it a lot more when he can attack the 4th best defender on the court and just be bigger, faster, stronger than guys and just be that guy that can be supplementary.
That's something also that's under talked about through this this new era of the Warriors. Like Quentin Post was not receiving any playing time, wasn't in the tuck or anything like that whatsoever earlier in the season. And it just so happened to be around the same time that Jimmy Butler was in the cut as well, that he started to get a good amount of minutes, and now he's like a real, actual, integral part of their success. Amazing shit, man.
Yeah, he's a good fit too. Him and Jimmy Butler fit perfectly. This slasher guy that gets to the rim, a stretch 5, that opens the paint for him. It makes total sense. They have a plus 13 net rating when Quentin Post and Jimmy Butler are both on the court. That is a fantastic duo. And, our only concern with the trade was Andrew Wiggins' point of attack defense. That's been talked about a lot. And a lot of Warriors fans now that it hasn't proved to matter are like, see, point of attack defense is fake. That's a stupid buzzword. The modern NBA, you don't defend anybody one-on-one anyway, so it doesn't matter. And to that I say, go ask a Denver Nuggets fan if perimeter defense at the point of attack matters. They are desperate to have a guy that can fight over a screen. Andrew Wiggins is fantastic at that. It matters. But it matters a lot less when you lose that guy and you add a second Draymond Green out there. You have Draymond, you have Jimmy Butler being monsters, freelancing, blowing everything up. The 2 smartest defenders in the court in any given game. That helps. And also what helps is fucking Stephen Kerr deciding to start Moses Moody, who is also a great point of attack defender and has stepped into that role perfectly. He has been a demon fighting over screens, has been fantastic defensively. I guess they didn't want to start him before because they wanted more dribbling out there and wanted creation. Now they don't need it because they had Jimmy Butler and they can finally unleash their 3-and-D demon. He has been
all of
goddamn
this
exceptional.
Proves that, again, hierarchy is so important. It's so important, and making sure that you don't ask people to do stuff that they are not supposed to be doing. Just do you know what I'm saying? Do your job. And sometimes people are asked to do multiple jobs, and that's not sustainable. And a lot of times you see it, especially with teams that have older stars. You start overtaxing the older stars and start asking everybody else to step up. And yes, you do want to see players in a position where they can grow and they can start, take on more of a role and start to blossom. But also, you're asking people to be the second best player for a team that has quote unquote championship expectations. That's a massive jump to go from hey, we just want you to be a really good role player. You can create a little bit more for yourself, knock down some more shots, to be 18-9 and play some of the best defense that we've ever seen. That is, again, that's a massive jump. And asking these young players who also have not, specifically for Moody, who has not been giving a lot of opportunity in years past, to just be all right, here, just go with no ramp up over the past couple of years. That's a very, very big ask. And maybe it's a little bit like overstating in this way, but like borderline unfair, just in the sense of like you went from like 0 to 100 in terms of like responsibility, you know. So the Jimmy Butler acquisition is massive because now you said he's actually an All NBA player. He's actually a number 2. He can do that.
Yep. These second timeline guys make a lot more sense on this roster when they can be complementary role players that fit next to 3 star players and not guys who have to vie to be the next star. That's not who you drafted. These guys don't have that ceiling. But they are a perfectly capable supporting cast. Or at least, I mean, I think Kuminga will get there. This last game we will ignore if we're going to be positive because it was goddamn atrocious against the Bucks. But I think he'll make a lot more sense as a complimentary finisher.
Not ignoring it, calling it atrocious.
I mean, in terms of us projecting him to be good next to Jimmy Butler, I still do believe he'll be good. Just give him time to come back. I think he'll be good in a very niche specific role because the slashing is real. We know Moses Moody can be this low maintenance 3-and-D guy. Pods, after that atrocious start, is looking more like himself. I buy this group fitting well off of Jimmy and Steph. Did not buy it as one of these guys have to be the answer long term to be the Jimmy Butler.
I 110% agree. And because of that, this is even realer than what I see compared to the Minnesota Timberwolves, bro, because this just feels like an actual threat to any team in the NBA, no matter like what role players, hot or cold, or whether Jimmy Butler is giving you like 20 a game versus like a measly 7 a game. I just see this team and I feel the consistency through and through compared to what I see with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Okay, so we said, okay, so let's look at the standings right now. If the season ended today, we would get 3-6 matchup. This would be feisty. We get the Warriors versus the Nuggets. What percentage chance? Okay, so who's winning that series if it starts today? The momentum both teams are carrying. Who do you pick straight up? One word answer. Say a team. No other words. Just pick a team.
This is going 7. Holy fuck.
That's too many words.
It's more than a word. Warriors.
Oof.
Nuggets. I don't know, bro. This is going 7.
This one is close. I would say this one is closer to 50-50 than the other one we talked about, Timberwolves. Putting aside that matchup specifically, I think the Warriors have a chance to beat any team in the top half of the bracket besides the Thunder. They can beat the Rockets potentially. They can beat the Grizzlies potentially. They can beat the Nuggets potentially. I don't think they can beat the Thunder. That's too much to ask. But those other 3 teams, actually, never mind. The Grizzlies are 5 now. The Lakers are 4. I also don't think they're beating the Lakers, but maybe I'm biased. Maybe. But even then, you have to say they have a chance against the Lakers. The Lakers aren't so dominant, you can say there's no chance there. And, in a bunched up Western Conference where it's Thunder and then everybody else, you could say it wouldn't be insane to believe the Warriors have the second best odds there to really make a splash.
Oh, this is so tough. Is
that ridiculous?
No, it's not. I think. Well, okay. I'll say. Okay, so second best odds is a bit much because I do think that the Lakers should have.
Me too.
I do think that the Lakers should have the second best if we're having like that whatever conversation. But like you said, it wouldn't be crazy if you said that the Warriors are going to beat the Lakers in a playoff series. It would be like, oh wow, like that's kind of surprising because you still have like LeBron and Luka versus like if you're just going 2-on-2 and it's like LeBron and Luka versus Steph and Jimmy, you would probably lean LeBron and Luka. But I mean, hey, like. The Warriors have their infrastructure and the fact that like they get to play they get to play their style of ball, and then also like we've said over and over, having Quentin Post and having just a little bit different of a dynamic than what they've had in years past, and being able to throw different looks at the Lakers who they played a bunch, that would be a new wrinkle. But also the Lakers' new wrinkle is like, we have Luka, so
exactly that's what I'm saying. It's hard to match up those two teams because the Warriors genuinely they've had their recipe. They've been so stubborn about the young core, bringing back GP2 and all that. Like they're deeper and their core rotational players are better, but and they're able to fill in a lot of gaps. The best players that the entire NBA has to offer fill in all the gaps in the world in Luka and LeBron.
Also,
and so that negates it too.
The Lakers supporting cast isn't horrible either. It's not that big of a gap.
It's not.
Shout out GP2. Shout out Moody.
Right.
It's really not that big of a difference. I think like Rui Hachimura, DFS, Austin Reaves, like these are also high level role players. So the gap isn't as big as you might make it seem there. But let me make it clear. I'm not saying the Warriors number 2. The Lakers number 2. Pretty handily to me. Let's make that very much clear. I just think it's not. If you are a Warriors fan and you want to go into this playoff series believing you're the second most dangerous team in the West, I'm not going to call you stupid. I think that's a respectable hill to die on if you want to. I'm not going there, but it's fine. Well, also with that being said, with how stacked the Western Conference is, they have just as much of a chance as being 2 as they do 6 because there's so many good teams. So it's a high variance year, and they have high variance just like the rest of these teams.
Spin the goddamn ball, bro.
Can they get to 2?
I can't make a decision when it comes to these teams.
No, I don't mean 2 in seeding. I don't mean 2 in seeding.
just
I
like
mean
in
2 in
chance.
like the second best team
Gotcha,
in terms of how you want to view them.
Gotcha.
Seeding
top
is
7 is crazy.
the most important that it's ever been in any year that I've seen in my entire like NBA viewing life in the Western Conference.
It gets like that
Nuts
every
shit.
year in the West. So
Who's more dangerous right now, the Warriors or the Grizzlies? Who do you have more faith in? Because the Grizzlies
Warriors.
are also good.
Yeah, easily the Warriors. I think it's more dangerous because there's like I've never seen so many teams come up out and like look completely different during the second half of the year. Usually there's like one team or whatever, cool, but 2 teams, potentially 3 with the Timberwolves like also being into the fold as well with however you view them. It's insane. And like
Okay.
yeah, I lean towards the Warriors though compared to the Grizzlies. I'm aligned.
Okay. This is going to be a good ass playoffs, man. There might be 2 or 3 bottom C teams in the bracket, 5 through 8, that might be favorites if a series starts. So that's going to be one hell of a predictions we have to do to decide who's going to win these insane series.
I just need the
Man, it's
matchups.
gonna-
I just need the
it's gonna be dumb
matchups.
fun. Yeah, I agree.
We'll keep next story that we're going to keep relatively brief because we talk about this team all the time. In terms of we're talking about, is this real or not? We got to talk about the white boy wearing yellow and not Luka Doncic. Austin Reaves has scored 28 points in the last 4 games in LeBron James' absence. He is straight up producing like a star.
He's
Like,
averaged 24 points in the last 4 games.
no, the average is a lot higher. In the last 4 games, he's averaging where is it? Why is it showing me totals?
Okay.
Anyways, his last 4 games, 28 points, 37 points, 28 points, 30 points. 3 straight games of 28 points or more. He is looking like an all-star caliber player in this stretch, playing off of Luka Doncic with no LeBron James there when they need that like high-end shot creation. He is very much playing off that level. We have Bill Simmons going on this podcast a year and a half later, lamenting, being pissed about the fact that no team forced the Lakers to pay him more because we're getting this production, which is like $12 million a year.
It's wildly like true. Like the fact that nobody even tried to force their hand is the wild part. But yes, continue.
Yeah, we got Celtics fans crying about it. He is playing an all-star level, which is reigniting this discourse that everybody on TV has to talk about now is Austin Reaves the best third option in the NBA? Whatever discourse area you want to take it, do you guys buy this like Austin Reaves should be considered this like high-end player that in a playoff series has like high-end implications on the Lakers' title hopes or whatever you want to go with it? Are you buying this Austin Reaves stretch?
100%.
I 110%
Yes.
agree. I 100% agree. Look at bro, he was undrafted a couple of years ago.
Correct.
A couple of years ago, I have this post up right now on my phone. NBA Central posted one gotta go, typical one gotta go, 4 players. Along right next to Austin Reaves, you see Jalen Green, Jordan Poole, and Emmanuel Quickly. That's like the level of like role player that he was. Scoring guard, defense, and all that. But when he gets a bucket, he gets a bucket. These are like C+ level players right now. He's leaped every single one of those guys that I've made in an insane way to the point to where I don't know how possible this is in the Western Conference, but if the NBA was to change its formats at all one day, he could 110% find himself into an all-star game. Easily.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be an all-star consistently, but if you told me he made one, like Goran Dragic made one, D'Angelo Russell made one, like he could very much be in there in the right situation, especially if he were to leave LA in the coming years. Like if they were to trade him for an elite big or whatever, which I don't necessarily anticipate, but it's not impossible. If a star center became available and they decided that fits long-term, they want to cash in on that deal before they got to pay Austin Reaves again. If he got traded to the Cavs or whatever, like for Jared Allen, whatever, I'm pulling shit out of my ass. But if that were to happen, and he had a high usage season where he was one of the 2 lead guards, he could very much stick into an all-star game. He's clearly reached that level of player. My favorite part about this is you mentioned that one gotta go graphic. You mentioned Jalen Green. Who else did you say in that list?
Jordan Poole and Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah. It's so great seeing teams that have players like this and everybody's talking about Austin Reaves as the best third option in the league, which we can get to if you think he's number one or not. But he's better than a lot of players' favorite guard. And it's so funny seeing teams have to cope with the fact that the Lakers have this guy who's just like $12 million a year, undrafted, third option, who's just better than like a Jalen Green type, who is the franchise to some degree. People are so mad. Nobody wants to give us credit because it feels so nasty to say Austin Reaves is better than your star guard. But sorry, it's true.
This is the worst year.
That's hilarious.
I've never been more disgusted to be on this podcast than right now. Because this whole year, the whole second half of the year has just been Isaac gloating about the Lakers, and it's awful. I
feel like I've been quite humble about it.
What about question to you guys? What about
You want me to
Austin
talk about how
Reaves?
Jackson Hayes is better than Derek Lively? You want to go there?
What was your question?
I was gonna ask you, Donovan. What about Austin Reaves? Have you seen in this game that's like taking him to this like new level of like or fresh level of start?
I think, honestly, it's just been the ability to handle responsibility. Like that, like when the Lakers needed him to step up in playmaking, handle the ball more, he did that. You've seen over the recent stretch, they said, Austin, we need you to score more. He's done that. When they've needed Austin Reaves to be a shooter and a spacer, he's done that. His versatility and his ability to fit into really anything that the Lakers have asked him to do, he's been able to step up to the plate and be really, really effective for them. So I think like over this season, his playmaking has been really like on center stage. And then obviously now, like, you know, you have LeBron and you have Luka. But even then, like, you still seen his playmaking chops come out. And then his scoring, like, do I think that he is 28 points per game all the time? No, obviously he's in a higher usage situation because a lot of people are hurt. But the fact that he can do that, that gives you a lot of hope because you know in playoff series you're always going to need a game from your third option. You're going to need a game. You're going to need a Lonnie Walker game where Lonnie Walker goes crazy for like 17 in the fourth, right? You're going to need these random games. Austin Reaves has fully proven that, yes, he can be that guy to give you like the Austin Reaves game, but he's also going to be a guy that throughout the playoffs, you can say, we're going to need 20 points tonight from you, and he can do that. And so I think that I do think that he is one of the best third options in the league because of that, because he's also like, just aside from his production, he's clutch, man. Like Austin Reaves is clutch. He's hit big shots time after time after time. And so if the ball ends up finding Austin Reaves with 5 seconds to go, you don't feel bad with him taking that shot or him taking deep shots. Like he's so reliable. And I think that is extremely valuable, especially for a team that has just remade itself on the fly, is still trying to find itself, has had a lot of injuries. When you have a guy who can be as stable as Austin Reaves, that's awesome. That's massive.
What's Austin Reaves' biggest weakness?
Defense, probably, but
yeah, that's his biggest, is like one-on-one defense. If you're a bigger, stronger, faster player like a Jason Tatum can attack him. He's not a horrible defender. People act like he is because there were some key marquee games when he was playing next to D'Angelo Russell and he had to be the main guard stopper where he was getting attacked by elite players. So yeah, there were some rough games. His defense is like fine, especially as of late. He's not defending poorly with his smaller usage now. So that's not the biggest difference. 7 3-point attempts a game, 3.9 from a catch and shoot, 35%. Completely fine. 3.1 of them are pull-up attempts per game where he does really high difficult pull-up threes coming off the screens with very small amounts of space. Looks real Kyrie-esque in that way. 35%. He shoots well at the rim, very crafty, gets to the line. Fantastic secondary passer. He can throw good lobs, hit good cutters, kick it out to shooters. Good on ball, good off ball, can defend competently, good passer, can scale up when needed when LeBron's out and score 28 a game, can scale down and focus on the off ball shooting when LeBron's there. You said reliable. That's the best way to put it. He helps you in goddamn every way. Like, there's no glaring flaw here. He's not some insane liability defensively. He's not like he needs the ball in his hands like people were saying when the trade happened. I forgot who said that on TV. Someone had that stupid take. Like, he kind of just fits whatever you want to do.
It's so interesting to me because like he's been with how like tumultuous and dysfunctional the Lakers have been. He's almost been like prepped to just like do whatever he's told. and be fucking great at it. I remember last year or 2 years ago or whenever it was, he was asked to like be a 6-man coming off the bench or 6-7-man coming off the bench, and he was great at that. Okay, the DeAndre Russell stuff happens, cool. Now he's asked to be a third, fourth option alongside D'Lo and AD, and then things change. Okay, D'Lo, he's out of the cut. Austin Reaves, you're fully in power now. Be the second option alongside, be the second, third option alongside LeBron and AD and whatnot. Okay, cool. LeBron's out, AD's out of the cut too. Luka's not playing basketball right now. JJ Redick goes on stage and he's like, yeah, I told Austin Reaves I need him to drop 40. He proceeds to drop 40. What can you not ask him to do?
Yeah, he fits pretty much whatever role you need from him offensively. As long as you're not asking him to be the main wing stopper defensively, he won't sink or swim your defense. He's just fine. I guess you could just say overall net neutral average impact there, which is perfectly fine when you're so skilled offensively. Just simply put, one of the best contracts in the NBA that will make any
it's
team
going to
better
look a lot different in these playoffs than before, because obviously you had LeBron and AD, and then you had D'Lo taking shots after the game. Like, that's kind of been the look for them the last 2 years. You're not going to see the memes of like, oh, Austin Reaves was taking shots after the game. Like, he's going to knock them down. And when you have LeBron and Luka there, like that's a difference. And you can look at those Lakers Nuggets series, and it's a pretty, like, you can look at the box score and you can go watch the games. It's pretty glaring where some of the flaws were in terms of just straight production and execution. And you can say, okay, we needed more there. Austin Reaves has taken over that spot, and he's going to produce. And he's doing it for $12 million a year.
Yep.
Nice. Oh, my God.
Shout out, man. What a luxury.
Nice.
What a luxury. Just what a good player that, like, at time, like, we mentioned at the start of the year that, there's always a...
Yeah, he's top
5 third
He's
options.
top 5. I won't say one. Yeah, I won't say one
sure.
because like
I
would take Garland over him.
Garland, J-Dub, or Chet, whatever one you want to say. Probably whatever Celtic of choice. I guess that's fair. Even though that's around
the line.
Derek White is
and like
very
y'all
good.
know how I feel about Derek White, so like I would take Derek White. But if you wanted to say that you would take Austin Reaves, I wouldn't hate it. But like that's kind of like the area that he's in.
That's the range he's in.
Him and Derek White are closer than people think. Derek White's obviously a way better defender. And, I don't think he's quite as dominant as he was when he was a little bit younger defensively. Still extremely good defensively, extremely good shot maker, can also scale up when needed. So I'm fine you going Derek White. He's in that range. He's also one of the best role players in the league. So, like, that's not a crazy comparison. If you're a Lakers fan and you, like, want to say you'll take him over Derek White, I don't think you're batshit insane.
That's not crazy, bro. I think one of the skills for Austin Reaves that, like, stand out to me that shout like, holy fuck, you can be an all-star because you are genuinely one of the best and in this category. There's no metrics, there's no stats that you can rely on when I say this, but like genuinely, when you look at his shot diet and the type of shots that he takes some of the hardest and makes some of the hardest shots that the league can offer, bro.
Buddy, there is metrics for that. I can find them. We can look at that.
I got something for you.
His contested three-point percentage is 29%. That's 66th percentile. He takes some difficult-ass threes. There you go. I think I can see his percentage on contested threes too. I can't find it right now. No, neither here nor there, but you're right. He's a tough shot maker, and he has an elite handle, which has really developed over time.
Exactly.
Good.
Let's listen. We've had 3 straight stories. Is this real about positivity? And we've all decided it is real, that these teams and players are good. Let's talk about some negativity and say, is this real? The Milwaukee Bucks are 5-5 over the last 10 games. They are in this moment astonishingly mid. Definition of 500 post All-Star break. They have been very, very mediocre. Good strengths, bad weaknesses. It has led to a net neutral impact of just an average-ass, mediocre playoff team. Is that real? Are the Bucks just kind of the Bucks? They're just another team in the East.
Yeah, they are. And I've swung back and forth on the spectrum, pendulum, whatever, with my thoughts on the Bucks all year long. I was out, and I could see a little bit. I could see the vision. I'm kind of back to being out because I like some of the losses that they've had, especially over the weekend. It's been kind of bad. Like you have a home game against the Thunder, no Lu Dort, no Jalen Williams, and you get embarrassed. And Dame and Giannis are both playing. Then you go on the road. Last night you played the Warriors, no Steph Curry. You once again get beat. you like if you are trying to be
The hell.
in the upper echelon of contender, you have to get one of those games, or you have to start looking more competitive in those games. And right now, I think they're going to get first rounded.
Tough. Mo's camera died. Haha. We're gonna keep talking.
Overheated.
Bozo, figure that shit out. We're gonna keep yapping about the Bucks.
Facts.
Yeah, I think first round it wouldn't surprise me. Neither would a first round win. They could win a series though. I'm not so doom and gloom, but they're just a average playoff team, man. And the shout out Dame, shout out Giannis. They're two very good players. We've talked at length over the last year and a half about the
Experiment.
top tier equity of them as a duo. They've had stretches where they start off not making any sense together. Then they got you see some signs of life that, they're making more sense in year two. The two-man game is getting better. Dame is getting better at finding the passes to Giannis where he likes it. Giannis is getting more committed as a screener. It's getting better over time. It just has never for a second reached the point of being as good as it was hoped when they made this trade. The idea originally is we all thought this is going to be a nuclear pairing that is such a monstrous duo that helps each other get better in every way that will elevate them to being one of the best teams in the league off the nature of this duo working together. We thought it would be like LeBron and AD in that way. It just never has been. Even at its best, this simply is a disappointing duo. And that's fair to say. It's not necessarily at the fault of either of them. It was a worthwhile experiment. Dame is a player that you can't really throw it to him after a Giannis drive and be like, go create a shot. He's a guy that needs a screen, needs structure, needs to attack with his preferred rhythm. He's not this create something out of nothing type of guard. That's not how he wants to play. And Giannis isn't Amari Stoudemire. He doesn't like to set screens and roll quite as much. That's not how he wants to play. The fit just hasn't necessarily been good. And after you make that trade, all the small moves around the margins that have happened since, Chris Middleton falling off and needing to be traded for a middling role player in Kyle Kuzma, Brook Lopez getting old and slow, everything's kind of just degraded around them in a way that makes it so those guys have to be amazing or you're not going to have the ceiling as a team. And that's where you are. If you're not going to have that, you just are another team.
Yeah, we always talk about and I know most specifically, what's your superpower? What are you great at? And at least in years past, you could look at them and say, yeah, the offense may not be there, but they are legitimately one of the best defensive teams in the league. For the year, over the last 10 games, they're around, 10th or 11th. Fine. It's whatever. And honestly, shout out to them because there was a time where their defense was atrocious and it was actually embarrassing. So the fact that they can get up to that level is okay, cool. But the offense still isn't, and again, with Dame and with Giannis, the offense isn't one of the best in the league, which if you are going to trade Drew Holiday for Dame, you think that you're going to make the switch in that. And you say, okay, it's fine if the defense comes down to 10, 11, 12. Our offense is going to be one of the 5 best in the league. That's not the case, and it's never been there. And so because you don't have that, despite having Giannis, who is having a great season, is probably going to be an MVP finalist, all that, you're not scary. You don't scare anybody because as a team, as a collective, there's nothing that you do that strikes fear in anybody else's heart. And they're just mid, right? Like you said, they're just another playoff team. And so I don't think that they have anything their ceiling is not massive because in the second round, they're either going to have to play Cleveland or Boston. They are getting destroyed. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah. No, they're getting cooked by both of them. So I don't see a conference final ceiling for them. And I don't know where they go because you get another disappointing exit. I don't know how Giannis feels, even though he's been hurt the last 2 years, kind of causing them to lose series, whatever. But it's not going to look great for them going into the offseason.
And 2 weeks ago we had our episode where we did one thing we've learned about every team in 2025. And I think Mo had the Bucks, and he was saying he's learned that we doubted the Kyle Kuzma move, we doubted the Kevin Porter Jr. move, and et cetera. And I think Mo was saying that it's been better than expected, right? Shout out to them. They've gotten what they wanted from Kyle Kuzma. And I wasn't going to be like, they won a few games. So I threw some backhanded compliments. I was like, yeah, I guess, shout out them proving us wrong, I suppose. I guess KPJ is going to be amazing now, whatever. And I didn't believe it for a second. These guys are just who they are. This is still Kyle Kuzma. This is still KPJ. They got something instead of Chris Middleton, who's unreliable. Cool. These guys just aren't good enough to move the needle. They never were when the trades happened. They rely way too much on a bunch of guys who should be the 8th or 9th best player on a roster for a good team. That makes up their entire 3 through 10 at this rate. Just a lot of mid they're trying to make work collectively. They probably did the best they could, I guess, with the assets in front of them, being a second apron team during the summer, being a team that had to trade Chris Middleton because you couldn't rely on him. Like, in practice, it's probably the best they could do. It's just not good enough. These guys are just not that special.
Before this trade happened, I was
Mo,
like,
you're muted. We can't hear you.
shit.
L.
They can hear me.
Bozo,
You
L
can't
podcaster.
hear me.
There you go.
Before this trade happened, I was talking about how someone like Kyle Kuzma, for whatever reason, he's supposed to be a shooter. He's not that great of a shooter, but he gets the respect of being a shooter throughout the entire league. That's how defensive players play him this year, at least. And now that he's been back in the fold with the Milwaukee Bucks, of course, naturally going to get more open looks. And he's been exactly as he was when he was in Washington. He's still not a shooter, and that's been exposed like even more. Like, yes, the energy's cool, the rebounding is cool. He's genuinely like helped him on that front, but he hasn't been as much of a needle mover as you expect him to be, and you shouldn't expect him to be that. That's the whole issue, like, within itself. You're 100% right. Like, those guys are those guys. Kyle Kuzma is just simply Kyle Kuzma. You look at him for what he is, and same thing for Kevin Porter Jr. Do you know how incredibly talented or untalented of a coach that you have to be in the year 2025 to have Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard on your team and not be a ferocious offense at all? Like, that's like real skill. That's unprecedented.
Doc isn't helping. But again, I also just think I don't know who can help with the roster they have. Like, they just have a lot of players that aren't good enough. Like, I don't know if there's any way out of this mess. Like, this is one of the disasters in the league. I think we can call this a disaster. Maybe that's dramatic because they're so a decent team, but it's one of the more disappointing teams in the league compared to what you wanted from the duo. But I don't blame anybody, really. Doc Rivers isn't that good of a coach. We know that. I don't blame him for not making a diamond out of this shit. I don't blame Giannis for reasons I said. I don't blame Dame. I guess I don't blame John Horst that much because he was in a bad situation because some things didn't work out. I do think those trades were stupid and didn't work. Like, they weren't great players to target. Maybe I shouldn't say stupid. They weren't the best players to target. But overall, I don't blame any individual as being the reason this is terrible. Like, some other teams, you can be like, Matt Ishbia, you're impatient as fuck and you ruined the Suns. Daryl Morey, you shouldn't have gave Paul George that money. Like, you can point to certain things that is the reason a disaster takes place. I don't feel like anybody deserves a ton of blame in this way. It's just an experiment that didn't work.
Brother, how many points did this team score against the Golden State Warriors last night?
Not enough.
Like 93 points in the modern day of the NBA, bro. They scored 17 points in 2 different quarters. That's disgusting. I do point a lot of blame.
Hey man, listen, that's lockdown. That's lockdown.
That's Draymond Green. Draymond Green had Giannis in hell.
That's lockdown.
I love Draymond Green. I love Draymond Green. But when the offense is so disoriented and guys just don't know where to be, and Giannis and Dame just feel like they're consistently just like figuring things out on their own. But again, these guys aren't head coaches; they're players, and they know how to like uplift teams and offenses, of course. But doing it as a unit, those things have those own roadblocks within itself that can't be addressed in this podcast. But what can be is how Doc Rivers is just simply deploying and figuring out how to align his quote unquote troops and whatnot. He has no real fucking game plan is the point. Or if he does, it's not effective in the slightest bit. Why is he over here complaining about the defense in their post-game conference last night? Meanwhile, the main issue was how you were able to get your buckets off and the inability to get them last night. The inability to free up guys like Giannis and all that when there's no Steph Curry. Like, you can't be outscored by a Steph Curry-less Warriors team. This is like, it's damning.
That's why. I mean, that's why because you're playing a Steph Curry-less team and they were still able to like and again, like, they didn't score 130 points, but like the offense looked fine. And also, like, Buddy Hield had a really good game. Pods were shooting well. Like, they just there were a lot of moments where like the defense wasn't up to par and you had like some mental lapses and stuff like that. So I can see that being more of like him talking to his team personally. But yeah, like the offense is just not, it's just not great. It's not spectacular. And you need it to be spectacular, especially when you look up and Brook Lopez is, 36-37. Like the whole thing that we thought whenever they traded Drew Holiday was their defensive infrastructure is going to be great. Giannis and Brook Lopez, all that, When Brook Lopez starts to fade a little bit and, Giannis, he's still great, but he's also getting older or whatever. Like, that is not as strong as it was 2 years ago. and you need your offense to be one of the best in the league, and it's just not that. And so you say that it's not anybody's fault. Ultimately,
I think it's everybody's fault.
Ultimately, if you go all in, if you make the decision, we are going to break up a championship team, and we're going to bring in Damian Lillard, and we're going to veer the complete opposite of our strengths. I do think that it falls on the GM. Was he in a position? Was he in a position where he had to do it? Yes, but it's also like that's your job to make those moves, to make those decisions, and you made the wrong one. So it's just on him.
He's gonna say
Everyone would
now.
have done it though.
And at the end of the day, all this comes back to also is Chris Middleton's body failed him. And it was supposed to be a big three, not a big two. We're talking about this as a duo. It was never supposed to be a duo. It was a big three because Chris Middleton was still an all-star and Brook Lopez was one of the best centers in the league. He got old, which he was pretty good last year. So that wasn't necessarily, last year could have been a year. Chris Middleton completely fell apart. That changed the entire equation. If he knew Chris Middleton was completely fall apart, maybe he'd still do it because maybe he should do it more. But nevertheless, you can't really account for that on the GM. Like, that's just tough. Chris Middleton's not 38. It wasn't expected that he falls off in the same way it is Brook. They just got really unlucky there.
Yeah, and like the whole Brook Lopez thing and his
You can't make a face of that. It's unlucky that Chris Middleton fell apart.
I mean, no, but we were having conversations even going into that, even going into that season, talking about Chris Middleton and is he going to be available? Is he going to be able to get back? So like, I understand you're going to stick with Chris Middleton longer than you would anybody else in that position because you want a title, because he's been there for a long time, because he is like honestly like a franchise great. I do get that point. I'm just saying. You make an all-in move like that, the buck has to stop somewhere, and it's just going to stop with the GM because ultimately that is your job, that is your call, and or owner's call, whatever. And if you really want to get to the nitty-gritty of it, we could say all of this is Giannis's fault for putting pressure on the organization to make them make a move. So you can go. I would go if we're playing the blame game. I'm giving blame to the GM for making that move. And I'm giving blame to Giannis for like you were also hurt for you were hurt for some of these playoff lapses, and you are now starting to put pressure, and you were not there for your team, and then you put pressure. So then they felt like they had to make a move. God. So it would be on them too.
Rant.
God, see my point.
He got hurt. What do you mean? Like,
see my point.
He's like, we're not doing enough.
Wham.
You weren't there.
Not every situation needs a blame game. That sometimes shit doesn't work out, and we're gonna play that game regardless.
No, that's not. I mean, that's also just like not true. Like, there's a cause and effect for everything. Like, I'm not saying it's a mark on his record. I'm just saying if we trace it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not saying that, but
what I'm saying is you're having discourse for discourse sake, and I understand why fans point that direction. End of the day, sometimes stuff doesn't work out, and it's not because of any one factor. Everything failed. A blame game is useless.
If we go back and we trace steps and say, hey, where did all this start? It kind of started with those two, and that's where we're in the position today. That's all I'm saying.
And this is what you call brain rot. This is what you call perpetual TV brain.
No. This is what I call accountability, right? That's what I call it.
For accountability's sake, like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
You have to be accountable. You have to be accountable.
Sure.
Do you know what the New York Knicks and the Milwaukee Bucks have in common?
Going all in to no avail because they're not going to beat the top two teams in the conference.
They can't beat a top team, elite team for their goddamn lives, bro. And
guess whose fault that is? Guess whose fault that is on the Knicks side? Leon Rose. You shouldn't have made that move. You shouldn't have brought in Cat. Because now you're in this position. You shouldn't have traded 6 first-round picks, knowing that you were going to make this move, or not knowing whatever your team construction was. Again, you just have to hold people accountable. It is what it is.
Great.
You can understand the situation that people were in, but also say,
and then you could say, "Fuck that! I don't understand." Actually, die. That's what
but also say, "Dang, that was tough. Like you made the wrong move."
But see, I don't think the Dame trade is the wrong move. Not just because everything doesn't work doesn't mean it was the wrong move in the moment. Certain factors made it not work. Outside of that,
a whole lot of different factors. Things that like you wouldn't think or come into question came into question when they were apparent.
There's always someone that can have the most blame if you have to do a pie chart. Doesn't mean it's an amount of blame that means anything that is worth talking about.
I'm just saying he has the most blame. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Great.
That's hilarious.
And if Giannis
Speaking of
requests
somebody
a
that deserves
trade,
a lot of blame.
you
Whatever.
know where to go.
Whatever.
You know exactly where to go.
God. Speaking of someone who does deserve blame, our last thing we're going to talk about today. Let's pour gasoline and light the fire on Nico Harrison's grave. Is Quentin Grimes' eruption in the late season for the 76ers real? The guy who
No.
Nico Harrison gave away for Caleb Martin. Is it real that he's had 2 40-point games, 8 25-plus games, and is averaging 21 points since arriving at the Philadelphia 76ers? They're a tanking team that Paul George is out for the season, Joel Embiid's out for the season, Jared McCain's out for the season. There's a lot of opportunity to be had, players to prove their worth long-term, and Quentin Grimes is snatching some chains right now, proving to be a guy they should prioritize bringing back this summer. Obviously, he's not going to be Kobe. He's not going to average 20. That's not what I'm asking. Is this level, not level of play, that's obviously not real to this extent because we'll never have this opportunity again. But is Quentin Grimes becoming somebody that should be prioritized real? Like, do you believe that this is a guy who was a steal of a trade to get for Caleb Martin and like should be prioritized as part of whatever next version of the team there is?
Yeah, he should be prioritized. And while his numbers aren't real, that bag is going to be real. The bag and the Brinks truck that he will be driving, that's real because he's getting paid. And I'm going to be happy for him because even like when he was in New York, he was blossoming as a player that could be a very solid rotation player. And so like, and the fact that he's been traded over and over and over, now he's in a position where the team is basically dead. He has to, over in March, in the month of March, I think they played like 9 games. He has almost like a 31% usage rate. Like he is going crazy. He's putting he's putting up almost 20 shots a game. It's ridiculous. And so
somebody got to do it.
Exactly. So I'm happy for him that he can remind the league, like, yes, I'm good enough to be a role player on a good team, and I'm good enough to be a legitimate NBA player, and also showing, if you're a pro, you can hoop. Like it's so like Quentin Grimes has been traded for so many times over the last 2 years. He's been on 4 teams, whatever. Just a guy that a lot of people started to throw away. You give him the ball, he can score 40 in an NBA game on any given night. Like these dudes are crazy.
Yeah, I think Quentin Grimes has been a good NBA player since his second year on the New York Knicks. He made first year was abysmal, rookie, whatever, don't care. Second year he made somewhat of a leap, and I still see him as a pretty valuable NBA player. I like how you like frame this as stomping on Nico Harris's grave because this is still like a stomp. He still made a dumbass trade for whatever reason. He traded for an older player in Caleb Martin, who's a little bit worse in my mind too. Still an L trade. I love that.
We're past stomping on his grave. We're digging up his grave site. We're opening the casket, attaching his shoulders to the back of a truck, and driving his corpse around town. We're so far past stomping on his grave.
Image.
That was
crazy. we're taking it much further.
I need someone to make a mini movie of that.
That's a crazy image to want to see.
Mini movie.
But I guess the better way to take this conversation is, they've won 3 games in their last 10 or whatever, how many it's been, because Quentin Grimes is going sicko mode. And I think it was Kenny or somebody tweeted that it seems like Quentin Grimes wants to give this draft pick to the Thunder.
Yeah.
They almost won a 4th game. They were up by like 20 against the Rockets, who were playing very unserious basketball. They came back to win in overtime because they just locked in and said, what the fuck, we're a playoff team, what are we doing? And they won that game. But they almost won a 4th game off the back of a Quentin Grimes 40 bomb. And, it's just real funny how this came out. They're winning games at the same time Paul George shut down for the year. At the same time that Daryl Morey went in front of a mic and said, I'm using AI models to help make decisions because it's just as good as any other voice in the room. And then we got former player Marcus Morris on a podcast being like, Daryl Morey's a dumb fuck. Talking about that. There's been so much discourse. It's about the Sixers and how in hell they are. So is it real that the 76ers are an absolute purgatory?
Yes, that's an even better question than Quentin Grimes. Dude, who the hell forced Daryl Morey to say that? I hope he
was just compelled.
Compelled to be like, yeah, bro, like ChatGPT, man. He just put onto the game, bro. Look at this cool object, man.
That's just the most Daryl Morey thing ever. Look at this cool object. Like he's such a tech bro in that way that like it just is completely tone deaf, and why this might sound crazy to players who like their livelihood is on the line. They're like, yeah, I'm asking this spreadsheet to give me an idea because I think that's just as good as the scout over there.
Listen, I can't be over here as a fraud or a hypocrite and be like, yeah, that's dumb. Why would you use ChatGPT? Yeah, I use ChatGPT for some of these drafts, and it took me to the promised land. So I get it. But saying something like that at a person of your status, just outwardly, and thinking that players who you're supposed to have great relationships with, and you as a GM who's had your general reputation diminished. You had James Harden over here in front of a whole bunch of Chinese kids in camps say Daryl Morey is a fraud. You had James Harden over here consistently. His mission for a whole summer was to tear down your name. You decide to just throw out some random mumbo jumbo about yourself, a cool tidbit, thinking that it will be like received well.
You know what it is? It's like, I mean, so here's the thing. Every team uses AI models in some regard.
Yeah.
Like every team uses the tools at their disposal. Like they don't, like these models have been a thing for a long time. It just wasn't called AI because nowadays it's such a marketing term to call everything artificial intelligence when machine learning to some degree has been a thing for a long time. It just wasn't as packaged as this new like shiny object. There's been a long time where people have had data sets and they've trained computers to tell them takeaways from that data set. We just call it all AI now. So every team does that besides like the Lakers who are antiquated and old and stupid and poor. But besides like teams like that, every front office uses advanced tools, right? Daryl Morey is just uniquely equipped to say the wrong thing and be entirely unrelatable to players at every turn. He is a generationally terrible communicator, and it's been the case for years since the Daryl Morey is a liar thing with James Harden. And he's just such a dork every time he talks, and it rubs players the wrong way all the time.
Isaac calling someone a dork is hilarious.
Like he has a way to make players think he's a fucking square. The things he says aren't bad. Like he's obviously knows how to build a team, knows what he's doing. He's just really fucking awful at establishing a culture and making players like believe in him and do all the people skills that are needed to run an organization. He sucks ass at those things. He's just so bad at saying things the wrong way.
Brother, the delivery is terrible. And also, who forced you to say that? You do not have to give us this information whatsoever. Like,
yeah, and it's just the way he says it. Like, it's not crazy, but he's like, he said, like, yeah, we'll use AI. You know, we got to have another voice in the room. Like, the way he says it makes it sound, it makes a player hear that and being like, oh, so you're letting them make decisions for you? You're not fucking using your own brain? Like, it's just going to rub people the wrong way, even if it's not tangibly, like, an actual bad practice compared to other people. He's just real good at sounding real bad.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way to put it. He's real good at sounding real bad, bro.
Shout out to you, Isaac. I think you put that perfectly. Thank you.
Exactly. Dork.
It's just communication people skills. Like sometimes some people are dorks, and it makes you good at running a basketball team. You need some fucking dorks behind the scenes to be the nerds that do all the computing and do all the smart things needed. That's not going to be the player that establishes a culture and makes elite athletes buy into his vision. That's not necessarily going to be the voice that communicates well to guys who are the complete opposite in this world.
Yeah, exactly. If he was like a random assistant coach, no one would give a fuck about this because you're an assistant coach. Like no one actually sees you controlling things in the back, whatever. You're in the background, but you're the face of this organization. When people think about the Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid, turmoil, oh shit, Daryl Morey. You're supposed to be he needs better PR training too, is what I'm realizing, bro. He needs PR training like a motherfucker.
You know what
they need to put the mic down. He needs to put the Sloan cup down. He loves talking about some nerdy shit in front of a mic. He just loves it. It's like his passion. He needs to put that cup down, please.
You know what's interesting about it though? As like nerdy as Daryl Morey is and can be, he is also simultaneously that boy nice. Like at every stop, one of the first things that Daryl Morey does is like, oh no, like we just have to go get a star. Like you have to get like the guy, and he will go and make whatever trade is necessary to get a guy in there. Whether it's, oh yeah, I know like Paul George is a star. Let's go get Paul George. Let's go get Russell Westbrook. Let's go get Dwight Howard. Let's go get all of these guys. Like he recognizes like, yes, you do need
something that totally slipped my mind through. This is absolutely hilarious. This is the funniest shit ever, and this is like peak Paul George. You decide to publicly announce that you're pausing your podcast. you are canceling your podcast for the remainder of the season to focus on an NBA championship run. We all know the season's long gone, but whatever. He wants to play serious basketball. And then he is listed out for the entirety of the regular season. That is peak Paul George.
Listen, they're not mathematically, and I was looking at it right now. Because the Eastern Conference is so bad, they're not mathematically eliminated from postseason contention. So I wonder, like, if they can get there in the next week or so, will the podcast come back? will he run it back up for the 24-25 season? That is the real question about Paul George and his antics.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, I mean, shout out Daryl Morey. I don't think he's bad at his job. I don't think he's washed a building team.
I mean, no shout out, but
I mean, yeah, whatever. But I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying he's bad at talking. And you need both to work well in basketball, I think. To work well in any sport, you need a certain level of appealing to people that are not like you and being able to reach across the aisle and talk to athletes. You need dorks in the building and you need athletes in the building, people that can communicate with them. Sounds like he needs a good assistant GM that can be the translator for him.
Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree.
I agree. Good job.
He needs to find his who's it for the Hawks? Who's the former player again?
Kyle Korver?
He needs his Kyle Korver. The guy that can be well, Landry Fields is also a former player running the team, right? So he needs to find whoever that is for him. I don't know, Kyle O'Quinn or something like that. Some former Sixer.
Rob Pelinka's great at that, bro. He's like
hey, shout out Kyle O'Quinn. Shout out Uncle Kyle, man.
Kyle O'Quinn.
We were in the trenches, but Kyle O'Quinn was out here hooping for us.
He's a voice in the front office?
No, I'm saying he needs to hire somebody random like that.
Oh, okay.
That can come in and work in the front office.
Someone who used to work for the Hawks, I think. Or no, he was a player.
Illustrious beard also.
Damn.
Oh, Alton Brand's a perfect example. We need a player voice in the locker room.
Damn.
That team is cooked. Shout
out Quentin Grimes, though. I think Quentin Grimes is good. Been saying he's good. I said I wanted him in the Lakers. If they can find a way to get him with a mid-level exception, that shit is not happening. He's going to get paid to some degree. I hope he gets a lot of money this summer because he deserves a real shot. And could you just imagine if they kept Luka and they kept Quentin Grimes? They just let him thrive and play off of Luka Doncic.
And did they give up a first-round pick to get or to lose Quentin Grimes?
I can't remember what the compensation was. Probably not. No, I don't think it was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Either way, you
Nico Harrison's a generational idiot.
I don't think they gave up a first-round pick, but either way, bad deal. And that's all the main stories I want to talk about today. Mm-hmm. Seems like everything's real that we're seeing in March. Seems like that's the takeaway. It's all real, either good or bad. And yeah, man. Well, what time is it?
I don't have my iPad anymore, so I really don't know. But I got my crayons with me, and it's TikTok time. Did you guys hear that?
A king without his crown. No more iPad.
I heard it.
Chomping the fuck out of my teeth.
I know.
Was you biting that? Oh,
yeah, it sounded like it hurt. It sounded like it hurt.
Can we take a break?
Sure. Go put some ice packs on your jaw. Let's go to TikTok time.
Hey, yo.
Welcome to TikTok time. We are once again going to begin with the draft. Today we're going to do another build a player draft, which we haven't done in a little while. We're going to build a fun player. So the only objective here is to build the most fun player you possibly can. Don't care if they're good. Don't care if they're bad. Don't care about anything but pure entertainment value, body, shooting, defense, playmaking, finishing. Do whatever you can to build the most entertaining guy you can.
Okay. Sounds good.
Draft order was Donovan, me, Mojo. Donovan, where are we going with the first pick in the all entertainment value draft?
In the all entertainment value draft, first pick overall. There are a couple of options. However, there is nobody that I would want more than Steph Curry shooting.
Yeah. The most entertaining quality you could possibly have in NBA history.
Yeah. The gap when it comes to being so good at a singular skill is pretty large when it comes to Curry shooting.
He's almost single-handedly carried the entertainment value of the NBA for like a decade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Anthony Edwards finishing. I just want to dunk on people's heads.
That's fair. Today, listen, we're recording this on Wednesday, March 19th. I think it is the 1-year anniversary of him killing John Collins at the rim.
Killing John Collins.
R.I.P. John. Give me Ant-Man's finishing.
Okay. I like it.
Like, he's not even the greatest dunker of all time, but I feel like he has the most fun posters. Like, it's him or Vince Carter to me.
Yeah.
All right. So since you got finishing and shooting out the way, for shooting, give me the second best shooter in the league, Damian Lillard. Again,
Boring.
there's nothing that can compare to Lillard outside of Curry when it comes to the depth of his shooting.
Trae Young can't.
And then
I'll say you asked you. Trae Young's the best long range shooter of all time. He's setting records.
there's levels to this. Trae Young's just not there yet, and his efficiency is not there. You don't need to talk about it. Anyways, playmaking in terms of straight fun. Yo, give me LaMelo Ball, man. I need the craziest passes and angles ever, bro. I need creative shit. Shit.
Definition of fun. Getting LaMelo's big. Okay.
Yeah.
Give me, where do I want to go with this? I already have finishing. Shooting. The most fun shooter I can imagine. Give me J.R. Smith shooting. Pure confidence. Pure confidence.
You didn't need to do that, but okay.
Give me J.R. Smith shooting.
Just throwing shit up the wall. You're low-key just
Pure
making
confidence.
words again, bro.
It's about entertainment value. J.R. Smith is one of the most entertaining men of all time.
Okay.
Got you.
This is not a good combination. And J.R. Smith? Oh, shit. Lock his ass up.
All right. For playmaking, give me Jokic's playmaking.
Okay.
His passes are crazy. Dang. I actually should have went in a different direction, but it's fine. It is okay. For finishing, I would like, give me, you know what? I have to take Ja Morant. I have to take Ja Morant. Ja Morant's misses are entertaining as well. So that's why I'm taking
that's a good point. That's a good point. Okay. For passing, give me Dion Waiters passing. That shit is not fun. We're not doing it.
Oh,
this is about entertainment value. We're
Straight
not swinging
buckets?
the rock. We're not swinging
I like this side of you. I like
double
this.
downing on buckets. Okay.
There's nothing fun about a skip pass. We're not swinging the rock.
That's hilarious. Okay. So for body, I guess give me Giannis. I'm just
Fair.
like insane. And then for finishing, give me
Chalk.
Zion Williamson. I'm going to dunk on you regardless, no matter what. Most of my touches, as soon as I get in the paint, just know 2 hands will be in the rim.
Oh, so you're building Giannis with elite passing and elite shooting, of course. Oh, real fun.
Who you got next?
For defense, give me Isaiah Thomas. Defense is also not fun. We're not doing that shit.
Okay. Hey, all heads gonna hate watching your ass, but okay.
We're not doing it. It's not happening. Don't ask.
Okay.
All right. With defense, obviously there's a lot of great defenders, but I need somebody with some swagger. That's why I want Tony Allen for defense.
Ooh.
Every stop, I'm putting that one up. First team all defense. First team all defense.
Okay. That's a fun defender.
Now, obviously, you have one of the best finishers in the league, one of the best playmakers of all time. First team all defense, the greatest shooter of all time. I could go Mo's way, and I could put him in a demigod body, but what you've never seen in your life is the best player in the world at all of these categories in a 5'3" body. I want Muggsy Bogues as my body.
Okay.
Perfect. That's low-key what I was going to do. Yeah, see, that's fun. That's a real fun image. You know what's even more fun image? The body of Grayson Allen dunking like Ant-Man. Give me the most confident shooter dunking 360 layups in Grayson Allen's Ted Cruz body.
See, we're just going to Grayson Allen's dreams, right? Like in his mind, when he goes to sleep, he dunks on people the way that Anthony Edwards does.
Oh man, this is white man can't jump. You see this average looking guy who is a demon flying through the air. All he wants to do is get buckets.
This guy's building Mac McClung. He's building Mac McClung on 2K.
Mac McClung on 2K. That's a good comp. Okay. Interesting picks. Muggsy Bogues and Grayson Allen. His name will never be said in an NBA draft before ever again. Never. This is the last and only time. So for defense, talking about entertainment value, someone who can play defense on every single level, guard 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5, and even like give you a different level of entertainment if you're into that. Draymond Green.
Yeah. If you're into that, yes, sir.
Had to inject some asshole into the draft.
Guess
I like
what?
it.
I'm into that. I'm into that.
Okay.
So my player is Grayson Allen's body with J.R. Smith shooting, Isaiah Thomas's defense, Dion Waiters playmaking, and Anthony Edwards finishing.
Correct.
This is a real NBA player.
It is.
Entertainment value.
It is.
Who is this? Who can dunk like Ant-Man while looking like Grayson Allen?
Okay,
listen. Looking like Grayson Allen. Ooh.
That's hard. But low key, you kind of just built like J.R. Smith, but like bad defender.
Yeah, I was like white Gerald Green.
Yeah, exactly. All right, my player has John Morant finishing, Nikola Jokic playmaking, Tony Allen defense, Steph Curry shooting, and all packaged in Muggsy Bogues' body.
Oh, I know
Nice.
who you made. You made Pat Connaughton in 2021. That's what it is. He wasn't.
Me?
He wasn't. Yeah, you made.
Okay.
He was in a
He
NBA
was
dunk
jumping.
contest.
He was jumping
Yeah.
like crazy.
And his shot. He was shooting them bitches, bro. He unloaded the
Know who
clip
I
back
made?
then.
He'd have good.
I made the
confidence.
white version of Hamadou Diallo from 2019.
Hamadou.
Listen, he won a dunk contest. Like he's history. So
He did.
Solidify, he did.
yeah.
What happened to the game?
He
Because
jumped over
remember,
somebody, I forget.
He jumped over Shaq and put his elbow in the rim.
Yeah.
So for body, I
It's a
got
crazy
Giannis
dunk.
shooting, Lillard, defense, Draymond Green, playmaking, LaMelo, and finishing Zion. Just-
Boring.
That's just a
I don't need
Yawn.
an iPad to win. I do this.
Yawn.
it's a demigod build on 2K. Everybody does it. You watch the YouTube
It's like
video.
it's
And
not
I did
fun
it
at
the
all.
best.
Yawn. Next thing we're gonna do. You mentioned Draymond Green at the end of that draft.
Of course.
If you're into that, Donovan stated
I'm into
he's
that.
into that.
I'm into that.
I'm gonna show you some of my favorite NBA trash talk moments, and I want you to rate it from 1 to 10.
Let's go.
Okay.
So just the best on court yapping.
Whew.
Let's
Trash
start off
talk.
with Steph Curry, someone who's not known to be a trash talker, but has the bag low key. He said, "Oh, you're not playing tonight?" to Kendrick Perkins when Kendrick Perkins tried to trash talk him from the bench.
Oh, this happened during the NBA Finals, I think, like 2018 or something like that.
Like the
Yeah.
the Western Conference Finals or somewhere around there. That's
Knows when he
good
was a Cav.
stuff. That's good stuff. Because it's like, listen, what you hating from outside the club, you can't even get in, right? You're not even on the floor. Your team.
He said you lack the qualifications.
That's what I'm saying. Ty Lue's not even looking your way. He's looking past you on the bench. Don't talk to me right now. I like this from Seth.
What can you possibly say if you're Kendrick Perkins, bro? Can't say nothing. Put hands on him. And he tried
You
to.
say
He
go,
tried to. Yeah.
uh-huh.
So, okay.
You just keep yelling. You just gotta get loud because you know he's right. You just gotta get louder than him. You hope nobody notices.
Because he ain't getting no PT, bro. And fun fact, he did not get no playing time that game either.
Steph was right.
That was
Funny
serious.
and correct. Funny and correct. This is the 9 out of 10. Steph does not talk a lot of shit, but he picks his spots well.
Exactly.
So, okay. You know what, man? Carry the hell on. Like,
Carry on.
Nice. Oh, okay. You're talking too fast. You gotta slow down a little
I
bit.
do.
And you have a better impression. Okay, Steph Curry. So started off well. We got to start with the babyface assassin. Next up, let's go to the other side of the locker room. Infamous Draymond Green talking to Paul Pierce, saying you chasing that farewell tour. They don't love you like that. They don't love you like Kobe.
man,
You thought you was Kobe? That hurt.
it
Oh,
still
I'm
hurts.
sure.
It still hurts. I genuinely think this might be one of the 5 best trash talking quotes in NBA history.
You could say it's the best. This is one of the funniest things anybody's ever said. Not even just funny, just mean, scathing, just outright effective trash talking. Because what does Paul Pierce say to that? No, I'm Kobe. No, you can't say that. You just got to take it.
Paul Pierce is over here averaging 2.6 points per game, just trying his best to go out on a decent note. And Draymond's like, bro, you suck.
And it's crazy.
You think that you deserve this? We're not doing that for you. Just go over there.
He announced his farewell tour like someone would care. He genuinely thought he was Kobe, bro. You guys, before the season starts, this is my last year in the NBA. Crickets. No one give a damn.
Do you
bro.
think this single-handedly made people stop announcing farewell tours as much?
Absolutely.
Maybe.
I think
He's
that
like, I don't
dude
want
is
to go out like Paul
incredibly lame.
Pierce.
People just go out in the shadows these days, which is
Yeah,
how
like
it
if you're a
should be.
good player that's not an all-time legend, like if Kyle Lowry is going to retire today, he's got to go. He can't announce a farewell tour, or every time he plays with the Warriors, he's look over his shoulder and feel like Draymond Green's going to scream at him.
Yeah, at this point, you have to be like a top 10 player of all time, or you have to be in year 20 and beyond, like Vince Carter, to where you can announce it. Like you have to be in historic territory of how long
Yeah.
you've been playing to announce a tour that you're going to retire. Man, Paul, this hurts, man. This hurts. I promise you, Paul Pierce still thinks about this to this day. I promise you it's all in his mind.
Motherfucker. Of course I'm Kobe. Better than Kobe.
And it's so funny because Paul Pierce is like probably disrespected too much, probably underrated, one of the more underrated stars of all time. Doesn't matter. It's so funny. I don't even care to argue for him ever because this is way funnier than it is like. It's way funnier to make fun of him for not being Kobe than it is to defend him for like actually being underrated.
Exactly.
This sounds like it's a 10 out of 10.
Easy 10 out of 10. It's not even a conversation. That's implied.
I agree.
It's the highlight of Draymond's
All right.
career.
Facts. It really is. This is really his crowning achievement. Next one. It's quiet as fucking here. Trae Young to Knicks fans.
This brings me back to the good old times, man. 2021 NBA playoffs, back when everyone picked against the Atlanta Hawks to face off against the Knicks. Man.
He did the
You know about the Madison Garden, bro. It's loud as hell.
Not that day. It was quiet as fucking there.
This is peak.
I'm not gonna
This is
lie.
peak.
This is a 10 out of 10 because,
Woo.
mind you, you have to understand the situation. Not only, like Mo said, were the Hawks the underdogs, but everybody had just come outside. Like the world was on lockdown. New York was hyped, and they were ready to see a playoff team for the first time in like 7-8 years. They were as loud as they could possibly be.
Dude, I remember that era of TikTok New Yorkers. Y'all would not shut the fuck up. So for them to be quiet that day, that is a crowning achievement. That is a
was
hard thing to
crazy.
accomplish.
That was crazy.
All Trey heard throughout the entire game, first, second, third quarter, was F you, Trae Young, F you, Trae Young. This is where it started at, bro.
To this day.
And since this happens,
Crickets.
yeah,
Crickets,
bro. Crickets.
10 out of 10. He's gonna go down in history for this legendary moment. Like it's gonna be like Reggie Miller doing the choke sign. This is gonna be part of the Trae Young lore forever.
I agree.
Mo, I'm not gonna lie. I need you guys to get better because I actually do enjoy this rivalry. It actually is fun. But you guys aren't holding up your end of the
We
bargain
working
of,
on
like,
it.
making the
Don't worry
playoffs.
about it. We working on it.
So fuck, I wish your team didn't suck. I wish it could be funny again. Too bad your team is so goddamn horrible.
We're not horrible. We're making strides. Don't worry about it.
Shout out Ricochet, man. Hope he's a savior. Next up, we got Zach Randolph saying, "In my hood, bullies get bullied," to DeMarcus Cousins.
That is hard. It's OG
This
talking
is
right
great.
now.
This is
This is
great.
hard.
This is like entered like the vocabulary forever. Like I forgot Zach Randolph is the one who said this. Like this is just a phrase now that people say.
In my hood, bullies get bullied. This is hard, bro. This sounds like a movie quote. Goddamn.
Facts. I'm like, this is off the dome. He just said it. Like that's
Yeah.
some poetry.
And
Oh
he's
no,
saying it
he's
too-
definitely said it before. Like,
think so? Sure.
I promise you, DeMarcus Cousins was not the first person that Zach Randolph told bullies get bullied. In my that's a staple in his vocabulary. I could promise you that.
Nevertheless, it's incredibly hard. 9 out of 10.
No,
Yeah,
listen,
exactly.
it bangs every time. He gets that.
Listen, sometimes you don't need new moves. Sometimes you can't stop it. Sometimes a James Harden step back. You can spam that shit over and over.
over and over and over again.
10 out of 10 bang. It
I like
passes
it.
to me.
It's so funny. It's such like this is also like part of the Zach Randolph lore. This will always be the first thing I think about when I think about him. I think about like hook shots and like shoulders to the chest and bullies getting bullied.
I also think about that sweet lefty jumper, bro.
They don't
Lovely.
make him like him anymore.
Exactly. Real hoops.
Next up,
It's the nerd's fault.
we got Larry Bird saying it's disrespectful to put a white guy on me. And the funniest part is like 4 former players have told this story. Larry Bird was spamming this left and right, telling everybody he plays against, don't put that white guy on me.
Isaac, if you're that white guy guarding him, like, how do you feel about that? It's like, yo, you're supposed to be on my side.
It's like Steve Kerr. He's like, what the fuck?
Yo, we trying to get him out of the league, bro. Like, let me prove my worth.
You know what I love? I love that he said this so many times to so many people because you know this was like a knee slapper to him. This was like his favorite joke to say.
100%.
He's playing the crowd. He's, don't put that white guy on me. He knows it's going to be hilarious every
100%.
time.
And you wonder why we feel the way about Boston that we do. You brainwash the white people into being racist against other white people. Like, they're just like, listen, I don't care who it is. I'm being racist against you. I don't care. I don't care.
He adapted to his surroundings. He had to pick a group to hate. That's 1980s Boston.
Exactly.
He said, listen, the other guys are cool with me. You guys don't guard me.
Oh man. Nah,
This is
it's
hilarious.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. This is hilarious. The fact that you can just be like, I know that guy can't defend me. Don't even try. Give me an athlete. That's hilarious.
I know that
Give me
white
an
dude was
athlete.
guarding Larry that night.
Don't put that pasty prince on me. He is not jumping with me.
Give me an athlete. It's crazy.
Don't even think about putting that guy on me. Mark Price, go over there.
Oh man. 10 out
Larry
of 10.
Bird's hilarious, man. Larry Bird in the modern media ecosystem would be so funny.
He would have so many fines out the ass. It'd be crazy.
It'd be great. It'd be good for us.
Wow.
Because he feels the type of guy that no matter the era would never be fully PR trained.
Never.
He's just timeless, bro. His game is the way he shoots, passes, the way he talks on and off the court.
Nah.
Ooh, he's so tough.
It is what it is, bro. This is one of the hardest lines.
That's drooling over there. All right. Next one. That's your best free throw shooter? Kyrie Irving said to LeBron James after he missed a free throw.
This is a
like
technical
this.
free throw shot too. This is hilarious.
Like that. The funniest part is LeBron is not the best free throw shooter, never has been, and he's still taking it because he wants the extra point. And Kyrie's probably remembering when he did that to him, and he's like, "Oh, okay, he's still doing it."
Because this was in 2021. This is very well in like those Westbrook era, and he probably was one of their best free throw shooters at that point in time. So Kyrie was right, and then right after this, LeBron was like, "Shut your little ass up," and he clanked the fucking free throw too. It was hilarious. He clanked the free throw.
As he tends to do.
No, I love this. I love this for Kyrie Irving. LeBron used to always call him the kid, always try to sun him. Any chance you get to talk mess to LeBron, you take that opportunity, Kyrie.
And this is probably,
I respect
they're
it.
probably so many years removed from their breakup. This is probably like a friendly jab. That's a funny friendly jab to have. Like, I'm sure LeBron doesn't get a lot of that. I'm glad somebody did it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I can call this a 10 because this jab is my fucking king. So I'll give this a 9.
Yes, you got to toe the company line. I understand.
Exactly.
Next one. Go ahead and say it for me, Mo.
You can't guard me, old ass nigga. That's what he said to Kevin Durant, I think during last year's playoffs, bro. When they swept the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, segment's over, man. Segment's over.
Anthony Edwards is simply hilarious anytime he talks.
I think in that same series,
Amazing.
or was it a series against the Denver Nuggets? He told some random old white man to sit your old ass down.
2023, 2024, Anthony Edwards is one of the most unhinged people in NBA history. I love it every time. He was moving crazy.
Brother, he's speaking the truth. It is what it is. When you're in the heat of the moment, you're looking at one of your goats to Anthony Edwards, which is Kevin Durant. I understand it. I understand. One thing about Anthony Edwards too, he lets you know that you're old. He screams it. He lets you know that you're old.
There's nothing like a 22-year-old will do except let you know that they think that you're old. Like that's like top of their list.
Famously, famously something that young people love to remind old people of.
Your time's up, buddy. It's sticking.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards is hilarious. If we're talking a comedic category, we're going to give him a high grade, no matter what.
Facts.
I agree. 10 out of 10.
Next one, we got Shaq telling Kobe Bryant, "Kobe, tell me how my ass tastes."
Hey, yo.
What are we talking about right now?
So I just want to know. I'm just wondering, how's it taste?
So apparently this quote came in a song that Shaq made. We all know Shaq has many endeavors, bro. He didn't say this to Kobe in his face. Didn't say it like on the court or whatever. But this was apparently over a track that he made, bro.
So he dissed him. So let's see. So it's not to his face, indirect. It's juvenile. 5 out of 10.
And the song sucked. The, like, 3 out of 10, maybe 2 out of 10 because you're like Mo, you're disrespecting Kobe. I can't have that. 2 out of 10.
Oh, brother.
The bar is not good also, too. The bar is just simply not good. What do you mean tell you? I'm not.
I don't know.
telling you
We
how
did
you
have
are,
that story.
bro. What do you mean?
We did have that story about him putting his mouthpiece in his ass with teammates to prank him. So maybe he's
Shaq
living his
is a
raps.
nasty
Maybe
guy,
he's living his raps. Maybe there's no rap cap in
That's
He's the
unacceptable.
worst teammate of all time.
That's unacceptable. That's not even funny. We should not be laughing about that, man. That's not funny. That's not funny
Shaq's an
at all.
asshole. He's a terrible guy.
I can't stand for that.
Are you trying to put his ass in someone's face at all times? I don't want him as a teammate, bro. What the fuck?
But again, he's living what he raps. I gotta respect it to some degree.
It's a man walking backwards in a locker room at all times. God. I don't want it today. Shaq, leave me alone. No, not again.
Walking backwards is crazy.
What a diabolical human.
It's a great joke.
Shit,
It's a great
crazy,
joke.
bro.
Next one. You should learn to speak Chinese. You'll play there soon. Dirk said this to a lot of people. This is famously his favorite piece of trash talk. Said it to his teammates, said it to opponents. Honestly, he was ahead of his time. Now people say all the time, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy, as a joke. Dirk was a trendsetter.
He's a pioneer. Honestly, this is threatening as hell to me. If I'm a role player trying to find my way into the league, and then you got the face of the franchise, superstar, top 5 NBA player telling you, yeah, bro, learn Chinese sometime soon. That's an eviction notice. That's a 2-week notice right there.
Pick up Rosetta Stone. Just a piece of advice. Damn.
Wow.
All right, man.
Wow.
Seems like
Listen,
it's
this is surprising. Yeah, I wouldn't think of Dirk to be this kind of guy. But shout out to Dirk. I like this. Yeah. Get ready
It's always the ones you don't expect. It's always the sneaky ones that are assholes.
get ready
It's a
to
10 out
speak
of 10
Chinese.
threat. 10 out of 10 threat.
For being
Simply just being a
threat,
trendsetter, being ahead of his time.
pioneer. Yeah, we have to give it a 10 out of 10.
He didn't even know a decade later we're going to get a meme of Adam Silver saying, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. That was going to take over Twitter. He's simply a trendsetter.
Is that what Adam Silver like actually said Chinese or like
No.
What did he say?
No, that's good. He would never say that.
It's a fake quote graphic of Adam Silver saying that. And it says, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy.
I always thought he said something saying like get ready to learn something. I didn't know the whole quote was made up.
I think it's all made. I don't know. Maybe he did say something like that, but I think it's all made up.
Get ready to learn Mandarin, buddy.
Yeah, he definitely wouldn't say Chinese. All right, next one. From Deshaun Stevenson. Hey, LeBron, how's my Dirk taste? He wore this on a t-shirt after they won the 2011 finals.
You know,
Bitch made. What the hell are we talking about right now, bro?
you know,
I think it's quite funny.
there's two things that should be locked up at the store, and to the general public, I think t-shirt presses and
Make t-shirt
and
presses
early
more
entry
expensive.
microphones. I understand it's a little bit hypocritical, but we need to lock those things up. Not everybody needs access to make their own t-shirts. It's getting ridiculous out here. It's getting.
I don't know what y'all are
crazy.
talking about. This is quite funny. I think this is hilarious.
He thought
I
this shirt
love a
was
good-
going to go platinum, bro. I didn't know this happened.
I forgot. To
I'm a big fan of pouring salt in the wound. And after the 2011 finals, there was never a wound more gaping in this world ready to be salt poured into it. This is hilarious. This was if there's ever going to be a time to dunk on LeBron, this was the moment, and he took it. I like this.
I respect
Nope.
him for that. I respect him for understanding the moment and capitalizing on that. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Right, passing grade.
Okay, fair enough.
6 out
No,
of
that's
10,
a-
5 out of 10 for me because no one rocks this shirt these days. This is my first time seeing this shirt, and I'm deeply entrenched in
I
the
know.
NBA.
No
blood, bro.
logos?
Like,
Nothing.
no logos,
What?
no nothing, bro. Failed campaign? What? Come
I
on
don't
now.
think it was made to be a, capital profit machine. I don't think that was the goal here.
He wasn't selling these.
Go all
think
in,
so.
bro. Go all in.
All right, man.
He should be outside
Next
the
one.
city.
Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Said Kevin Garnett to Joakim Noah after Joakim Noah told KG he was a big fan of his back when Joakim Noah was a rookie.
I'm letting you know.
Oh, shit, I lied.
This is 10 out of 10.
Dude, I can buy this shirt off of eBay right now if I really wanted to.
Get it.
Go for it.
Get it.
I'm going to report his ass. What the fuck you mean get it? This is against my company, man. What the fuck?
No, this is 10 out of 10 because Joakim Noah said that this actually messed with him for years after KG said this. So the fact that you can have lasting effect with your trash talk, 10 out of 10.
Psychological torture. Could you imagine meeting your hero, whoever it is in your respective field? You're like, big fan, man. Glad we're being face to face. And he's like, shut up, bitch. Like, that would hurt. Oh, okay. Goddamn.
Whoa.
Welcome to the big leagues,
My
buddy.
bad.
Imagine you be Bill Simmons. Hey, man, big fan. You got me into kill yourself.
Bill Simmons just backhands you. Just like, what? You just standing there.
Sorry, Bill. I'll never be the same. Zach
where's
gives me a
Ryan?
wedgie. This is a 10 out of 10. Listen, sometimes you also gotta welcome rookies to the league. They can't be friendly all the time. You gotta set the tone. He's doing good things for the youth. 10 out of 10.
KG an asshole, man. What the hell? I hope he at least try to shake his hand afterwards.
No, because I
after
think
the game, but I
Joakim
don't
said
think
this
that happened.
during the game. I think he said it during the game. It wasn't in the summer.
Yeah, they're at the free throw line, and he was like, "Hey man, big fan, glad to be playing with you." And he's like, "Have you lost your goddamn mind? This is a game. Be a man."
Which honestly,
Kind of respect it.
during the heat of
Kind
battle,
of respect it.
I like that. I like that from KG.
Gosh.
We're missing that.
I don't hate it.
We're missing that.
If you're ever gonna be the typical KG asshole, that's the moment. If you got this 18-year-old next to you, or I guess 19. Was he a one and done, Joakim Noah?
No.
No,
Maybe
he
not, I
was,
don't
in,
remember.
he was in Florida for multiple years.
Okay, so 22-year-old, whatever it is, you're an established vet. You have an MVP trophy. You're coming off. I think Joakim Noah was like 2011 draft or something like that. No,
No, it was like-
2008 or something like that. He was already established.
Yeah.
So
Right,
like 2008,
whatever.
You're trying to win a championship. You're vying for being the top of the league, and you got this kid next to you. Be like, "Hey man, big fan," like SpongeBob. Hell no.
See, and that's what we
Shut
need.
up.
That's what we need. Today, everybody's just too buddy, right? Everybody's just too friendly. I need more Kevin Garnett's in the league. I like this.
See, when Dalton Connect checks into the first game, goes to Klay Thompson. It's like, "Hey man, I want to be a shooter just like you."
Klay Thompson should spit on him.
What are we talking about? Can you imagine that happens?
No, that would be ridiculous. Honestly, again, being spit on is the highest form of disrespect. There's nothing worse than being spit on. If I'm not saying I condone it, but I understand murder in that situation. Like, I get it. You can't be spit on. I can't take it.
Oh,
All right, man. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna play Keep 4, Cut 4, a new staple of ours. We haven't done it in a few weeks. I'm gonna name you 8 NBA MVP seasons. You got to keep 4, cut 4.
Let's go.
Keep 4, cut 4 MVP seasons. Okay.
A wide variety of eras, some modern, some non. Keep in mind there will be a variety, so don't put your eggs in one basket either way too fast. All you gotta do is pick 4 to keep, 4 to cut.
All right.
Put your eggs in too many baskets. I don't know what's coming next. I'd never had. There's no shame.
There's a little bit of shame. You guys suck at this. Next up, first up, 2007 Dirk.
You're blind. What do you mean?
Cutting that.
Also, yes,
I'ma cut it.
we are cutting that. We are cutting
First
that.
round exit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The playoffs don't matter into him winning that award, but the whole season is tainted because you lost in the first round. Like,
And that's
Exactly.
us looking back 12 years later, it does.
Whenever someone mentions that MVP award, they mention it in a negative connotation. Yeah, but he lost in the first round. Embarrassing, bro.
thank you.
You gave a franchise a slogan they ran with for years off the neck of you being ass in a playoff series. We believe was a staple of the Warriors' history, and you granted that to them. Cut.
Quickest cut of my life.
Fair enough. That's an easy one. 1994 Hakeem.
We got to keep that, I think. I think
I
we have
will.
to keep
I will
that.
because I think in that year, I think he was also DPOY as well in '94. So if you have
Was he?
that, I think so because Hakeem is one of he's one of the players that has like MVP, DPOY,
That's
Finals
true.
MVP, all that.
Correct. You're right.
So
Dude, in
listen,
that year, he was DPOY, MVP, NBA champion, and Finals MVP. Just one of the greatest years in NBA
That's
history.
like the greatest calendar in NBA history, bro.
He has
Yes,
every
I'm
trophy
keeping
you
that.
could get in a single year.
I'm keeping that.
Yeah, keeping it easily.
Okay, 94 Hakeem, easy keep. Well, that's underrated as one of the best individual years of all time.
Exactly. Under talked about.
2009 LeBron James.
First MVP.
Young
season.
LeBron just getting it out of the mud
First MVP season. They did win. They won 60 games that year
with a mediocre roster.
in 2009. But
Him and Mo
you
Williams
lost-
took that team to the promised land.
you lost to Dwight Howard and Hito Turkoglu in the conference finals. Can't take it.
I don't know.
But it's still a great year, though. It's still a great year.
It's also LeBron James. I mean, not to be a Glazer, but it's LeBron James.
Not to be a Glazer.
because
Persistent
LeBron
glaze.
James, I would want to put it on there, but I feel like I've seen better MVP season.
How
Are
many?
we- are we
Have you
cutting
seen
this?
enough that you feel comfortable cutting it?
Are we cutting this? I don't think we can.
No,
I don't
let's
think
keep
we
let's
can.
keep LeBron. Let's keep LeBron.
Okay, you want to put him towards the bottom end just to be safe? Even though the order doesn't really matter, but we can go.
Yeah.
Put him at 4. Just say it's the worst one. Okay, 2020 Giannis, another DPOY MVP duo.
See,
Oh,
He-
again, you got to keep that. He's done a rarity. You have to keep that.
okay. I
DPOY and MVP. I think we have to keep that.
I'll,
That is
only
quite
been
rare.
there by
I'll give
three
him that.
players in,
I'll give
in
him
league
that.
history.
I'll give him that. I hesitated.
Who's the
a
third
little
one,
bit.
Jordan?
Only. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think so.
Jordan.
All right, we'll do it. We'll keep
Gotta be
honest.
It's also one of the better NBA seasons that we've seen in history. Under talked about.
But he also got clamped in the playoffs. They got embarrassed.
Yeah, it was. I think who was it against?
Miami Heat. The first build a wall series in the bubble.
Oh, this is in the bubble too.
He went out so sad that it destroyed his reputation until he won the next year. It was nasty discourse.
It was bad.
We have to keep it still.
But first round
Okay.
exit.
It's a regular season award. I know we didn't give that to Dirk, but Dirk was historic. Giannis is not historic.
Dirk didn't have a DPOY. It's fine.
Yeah.
Only one spot left in keep. You better be careful now because there's 4 names left.
Okay.
2018 Harden.
Cutting. Shit. We're
Yeah, I'm gonna
cutting.
cut that.
Sorry.
I'm gonna cut that.
Got to cut, right?
Yeah.
You got to be careful. It's not too hard. 2019 was a better season from Harden. He didn't win MVP, so cutting 18 isn't that depressing.
Yeah.
2006 Steve Nash.
Cutting easily.
No, but
You guys underrate Steve Nash. Come on.
I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it. If you talk about the poster child for disappointment, that era of the Phoenix Suns is up there.
True.
It's up there.
Accomplished absolutely nothing from that era. Shout out Steve Nash though. Too much hate on Steve Nash. It's not easy, but I understand if you guys want to cut him. 2000 Shaq. One keep, one cut left.
Keeping 2000.
Wait.
Stop it.
Wait,
Stop
wait,
it.
Only
wait,
only
wait.
one spot.
Stop it.
Niche?
We're keeping
What
2000.
if the only unanimous MVP is there though?
What do we have left? So right now we have.
What if Jordan's
So
there?
right now we have Hakeem, Giannis, Braun. We got to take 2000 Shaq is ridiculous.
Is it really that ridiculous?
It's one of the
What
best
if-
picks of all time.
What if Curry is there though? That's the only name that I have in my mind.
Would you feel that bad about keeping Prime Shaq over Curry?
Right now, Shaq in
A unanimous MVP, I would.
Shaq in 2000 averaged 29.7 points, 13.6 rebounds.
Damn.
Was second in DPOY, first team all NBA, All Star, all of
He
that.
was second in DPOY. I didn't
I had
even know
no
that's
idea.
crazy.
It's because he averaged 3 blocks a game
All right, I can't go against the voting
and won a
the
title.
DPOY voting. All right, give it to him. Give it a shot.
And won a title. Okay,
You're right, he
fair
did win
enough.
title of the year.
Listen, I don't think you'll feel too bad about keeping Shaquille O'Neal. I think you'll live.
Why so?
But with the last spot, drum roll.
Tell me already.
2014 Kevin Durant.
Oh, I feel good about that. Okay, I feel great. This list is perfect. I think.
Is this your
What's
guys'
the next
first successful Q4 Cup 4 in a long time? You kept 94 Hakeem, 2000 Shaq, 20 Giannis, and 09 LeBron. You cut Dirk, Harden, Nash, and Durant. I don't really have any issue with that.
I don't either.
The only thing that you can think about switching in my head would be like 2014 Durant and 2009 LeBron.
2014 Durant was historical in so many ways. The
Sure, but it's
efficiency
fucking
in his buckets was
Prime
crazy.
LeBron. You'll live. That's fine. I thought you were going to say Durant over Giannis is the one you would question.
No, I think the fact that if you win MVP and DPOY, like Mo said, that's so rare. You do kind of have to be up there. The LeBron one is the interesting one.
Looks like a perfect list to me. Congratulations. You guys aren't terrible today. You surely will be next time, though.
Don't speak
Enjoy
that.
it
Don't
while
speak
you
that
have
on
it.
me. Don't speak that on me.
Okay, next thing we're going to do, let's talk about this rookie class currently. I feel like we haven't done much talk about them. It's a, rather underwhelming class. The best one that was really jumping on the scene got hurt pretty fast. So it's been a dull rookie of the year race so far. But what I want to do is I don't want to talk about the rookie of the year race. I don't really care who wins. Shout out Castle, shout out Jalen Wells, shout out whoever else might win. I can't remember. I'm going to name an NBA rookie from this 2024 class. I want you guys to tell me who you think their prime comp will be now that we've seen them for a year.
Okay, let's do it. This
So,
is going to
instead
be
of
really hard to do.
Instead of player comps off of just college, it's now that you have some sample size of NBA basketball. Who do you see them developing into?
Okay.
Should be a fun one because it's kind of an interesting thought experiment. First off, Stephon Castle. Who do you think he becomes best case scenario? Or not even best case scenario, just realistic scenario.
When I see Stephon Castle, for some reason, I see how versatile he is. I view him as like point guard version of Andre Iguodala.
That's not a bad comp. I think that's a good high end. I know who I see. I see Goran Dragic with bounce. This like slashing point guard who can pass a little bit, but really knifes his way to the rim. With Stephon Castle as dunks, Goran Dragic as fancy layups. They use a little bit of speed, not too fast though, but they're quick. I think that's a pretty good comp.
Without the shooting though, because Goran Dragic, he was a sniper.
Not really. Not from three, not really.
Really?
What's
Yes,
his career?
Goran Dragic
What's his
wasn't a
career?
crazy shooter. He has some years, but he was always a low volume. He wasn't a super strong shooter either, especially when he's young.
I just remember. I don't know. I'm thinking about him in those Phoenix Suns days. I think.
Goran Dragic shot. His best year was so in 2020, when he was older, he shot 5.5 a game, 36%. But for a lot of his early career, it was like 3.5 a game, 31%, 33%, 36%. He was never shooting threes. Wasn't his thing.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
He was a slasher.
Not bad.
Goran Dragic is interesting.
But yeah, you're right. Stephon Castle needs to learn how to shoot threes a little bit better to make that comp happen.
Yeah, he's a better shooter at least coming into this year than I thought he would be.
Which is crazy
28%
because he's shooting 28% and you're like, yeah, he's better than what I thought.
I thought it would be worse. I thought it was going to be like 25% or something like that, bro. My expectations were low when it comes to
You're putting
shooting.
him in like Andre Robertson conversations.
Yeah, relax. Not that bad.
Like, that's-
I have
that's
faith
awful.
he'll become an average. I have faith he'll become a good enough shooter.
Same. I definitely do. I definitely do now after seeing what he's been doing this year. So I think point guard Andre Iguodala is perfect because he can be a 20-point scorer if he wanted to, but your team's not going to be very good. But combine his scoring and his cutting and all that, along with his smart passing, the rebounding, the defense and all that, and all the other intangible stuff, I think you slot him in on any team in the league, they're going to get incrementally better.
Yeah, I think the defense might be the thing that makes the Iguodala comp really good if that continues to develop.
Is point guard Iguodala just like Drew Holiday?
Nah. I don't know, actually.
Low key. And Drew Holiday's not a bad comparison. He's not as good defensively. That's kind of a high bar, but that's not a terrible comparison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Zachary Risichet.
Listen, he has been playing well as of late, though.
He's
I
had
think
a
he's
great
the-
rookie year, bro, so far.
Yes, since January 1st, he's shooting over 40% from three. So he's full on a good shooter now. Even for the
Averaging
year,
like-
54 true shooting isn't bad.
Yeah. Averaging like 14 points per game since January as well.
I think he's ducked the Harrison Barnes allegations. The new allegations, Chandler Parsons with good defense.
Chandler Parsons is kind of nasty.
We got to take some steps. And also,
you brewed that
Chandler
comparison.
had
and
some
also,
good years.
let's
That's not bad.
Stop. Let's not put
It's
that.
not bad.
Let's not put that on the young man. All right. Let's not put
Chandler
that on
was
the young
good. Chandler with good defense is a good player.
man. You're letting the bag fool you. Let's not put that on the young man.
You're letting the back fool you. He was a good player. Just because overpaid doesn't mean he was bad.
Nah, he was solid. He was solid. But we're not giving that.
So where are we going? What's better to you? I mean, I'm still not ready to be like he's gonna be a superstar or anything crazy or anything like an all-star caliber player.
Well, I don't
What do you
think that. I don't think he's going to be a superstar.
He said there's a gap between Chandler Parsons and all-star. He's somewhere in there.
I think what he could be, 2025 Cam Johnson. That's my comparison right there.
Chandler Parsons is as good as Cam Johnson. Why are we acting like
I
that's
don't
some
want to
big
use
gap?
the Chandler Parsons. Keep him.
It's a sore spot. It's a sore spot.
All right.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens when you get in media and people don't like you on TV. They forget about how good you were when you're a player.
I had very high expectations for him when he was a Memphis Grizzly, bro.
My bad.
Very high expectations.
I will watch the Chandler Parsons highlight tape today. My bad.
Don't turn on FanDuel TV. Turn on YouTube and watch the highlights.
I got you.
Ew.
Okay. So, Cam Johnson. Okay. Donovan, anything?
No, I'm terrible at these player comps. I'm trying to find something. I'm not gonna lie. My
Jared McCain.
blank.
Who is Jared McCain remind you of in that brief time he was taking over the league early in the year?
Smaller player, has a ratchet. He's getting his buckets off in a very unique way.
Yes, but
Really, like, he's very versatile as a scorer too, though. Like, it's three. He can get to the rim a little bit. He can shoot off ball, on ball. I've saying it all year. I think the best comparison in terms of caliber of player, I think will be Desmond Bane. Now, he also is a lot younger, being better off the top. If you tell me he can get a little bit better than that and be whatever an all-star version Desmond Bane is, I don't think it's crazy.
Hard. It's so hard to
But
compare him.
I think Bane is a good floor. I think he'll be like just right next to all-star level player.
yeah, in terms of outcome, he can definitely get there, and it looks like he's gonna have all the opportunity in the world in the next coming years. So,
They're gonna need him to be Desmond Bane.
Yes.
And they're gonna need him to be Paul George.
he got to do everything.
Be Desmond Bane and Paul George.
Jared,
He got a rough.
he got to be all NBA. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you better make a Klay Thompson leap. City's on your shoulders.
Maybe I'll compare. Maybe he's a smaller. Nah, never mind. I'm lying. I'd bet. Yeah, I think let's stick to the Desmond Bane one.
It might just it's probably
He's
just
so
because
unique.
of like the build, but in terms of like being that size, being kind of physical a little bit, and then being able to be like smart and get into your spots, Kyle Lowry is what I think of when I think of like a smaller guard who can get to his spots and be honestly like a pretty decent scorer. I think he has a higher upside as a scorer than Kyle Lowry. And obviously, like I think Lowry's a better playmaker, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I don't hate that.
Alex Sarr. Still to me the best rookie in this class. Still to me the one guy that has all-star potential.
Yeah, having good to close, great defense at 19, 20 years old moves mountains, bro.
He's a good defender. He is fast with the ball in his hands. He has really good ball handling for someone this size. I feel like it's some version, similar type of archetype to like a Jaren Jackson. Someone who can be this versatile 4-5 defender and do ball handling stuff and attack closeouts and shoot. I feel like Jaren Jackson is the vision.
And I see that big man. I see that 6.6 next to rebound. I see Jaren Jackson Jr.
He's already rebounded more than Jaren as a rookie, so maybe we're doing him a little dirty in the rebounding department.
I see a mix. I feel like I see a mix or feel a mix of Alex Sarr. Of Jaren Jackson and also Evan Mobley.
He's not quicker than Evan Mobley though.
He is more fluid of an athlete. But I feel like his stature just feels more real and comparable.
You know what he looks like to me? Low key, this is sacrilegious. He low key looks similar to like a baby Giannis when he was a rookie and the way he would like move in the open court. Not saying he'll make that crazy leap Giannis did.
Who knows?
But the style of ball handling from that size, it might be the first Giannis son.
Yeah. Okay.
That's,
Maybe.
That's high praise.
That's a lot.
I'm not saying he'll be close to
that
caliber
man
player.
loves his jumpers. And there's one thing about Alex Sarr, he loves shooting that motherfucking lane.
He does.
You know I can spread the floor, right?
You know who shot a lot more when he was young?
Giannis.
Now, I don't think he'll ever become the best athlete of all time and dunk in everybody's head, but I think he'll dribble in similar ways.
Okay. I can see it.
I'm not in love with it.
Donovan Clingan.
Whew.
Just a big body. Just defender. Just like that.
Is Rudy Gobert?
I was going to say, I think he's somewhere between Zubac and Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is one of the best defensive players of all time, so that's high praise. But he's worse defender than that. Better, I think he'll be better defender than Zubac. And offensively, I think he'll be better than Gobert, but worse than Zubac. So he's like perfectly combined those two players.
And you know what? That middle, that's a damn good player too. I like that.
He's
He's
fucking
gonna be a
great
great
player,
player.
bro. Zubac averages like 20 a game. What the hell?
He should be an Atlanta Hawk. This man should be holding down the paint for Trae Young. It's unbelievable to me they didn't pick him.
It's okay. We'll live. Zachary.
Shout out, Reece James. Shout out, Zach.
Where are you?
Shout out, man. He
We're
would be
living
such
right
a
now,
good
bro.
fit. He'd be such a good fit, man.
Yeah, bro.
I have all the stock in the world. Klingen's going to be an elite defensive player. He's going to make all defensive teams.
You're under 500.
And what is your team?
Over 500.
Let's not get into this right now.
Every other episode, there's Knicks Hawks beef.
Yeah.
Someone said last time it happened, I was sitting here just staring. I said, this I looked like some kid watching his parents fight. Isaiah Collier. Very quick. Can't shoot a lick right now, but a really good passing prospect. Has a handle, can use his speed, and can really, really pass. Like
I don't know if he'll be
his
able to
passing accuracy is crazy.
I don't know if he'll be able to like manipulate the game in such a way. And his defense is not there yet also, but I smell like some version of Rondo in here.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ricky Rubio.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking a more athletic Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, Ricky Rubio was quick and obviously an incredible passing mind. Ricky Rubio is a fucking prodigy as a passer, so maybe that's too much praise. But Collier's passes are ridiculously accurate. He places that ball in the perfect spot every time.
Yeah, prodigy is the right word. You might have to come down a bit of a level. Talking about Pablo Prigioni, you know what I'm saying? Something in that range.
Pablo Prigioni.
No, listen, I pray that Isaiah learns how to shoot just a little bit. 23% from three is outlandish. But if he can become a passable scorer, his passing is going to be ridiculous. Why are you laughing?
No, man.
Why are you laughing?
23% is diabolical.
That's crazy as hell, bro.
That's ridiculous.
It's nasty. 48% true shooting is also nasty. But hey, rookie guard seasons are fake. We know that. You can shoot 10% as a rookie if you're a guard, and I'll allow it.
I can't take 10%.
I don't know about 10%. 10% is outlandish.
Hey, well, he's doubled that. He's doubled that, so we're in the green. Dalton Connect.
Dougie McBuckets.
That's actually not bad.
Watch your fucking mouth.
I think Dalton has a little bit more of a bag and he has a little bit more of an ability to dribble. To me, I kind of see if he had a little bit more playmaking in his game, I would be like Bogdan Bogdanovic on the Clippers.
Now his handle isn't nearly as good. He's much more of a he can drive, but he doesn't have a handle per se. He doesn't have a horizontal handle in that way.
He did in college. But I don't know if he just doesn't have the opportunity to do so for the Lakers, but
that's just not developed yet. He can get ripped. That's just not developed yet. But I do think in terms of Doug McBucket's thing, he's a little more athletic. Like you can throw him some lobs. He's a good cutter. He can use that size. He's all 6'7" of him. Maybe he's also Chandler Parsons. I don't know.
Nah,
a little bit smaller Chandler Parsons.
You want to see Chandler Parsons in the league so bad again? Go home, bruh.
I already see him. I'm already watching Zachary Risache.
Ew. Don't ever say that again. You want to see him.
But who's a good shooter? He 36% as a rookie. I think he'll get to 40 as he gets more comfortable and isn't a rookie, So a good shooter who can cut and be a little bigger than you think. But he's an atrocious defender right now. Maybe that'll get decent. And he can't do a ton of ball handling, like one-on-one scoring. Who's that sound like? Like a stationary shooter that can cut.
Stationary shooter. Again.
I think I believe in his handling developing a little bit later in the day, so I'm sticking 10 toes to the Boyan thing.
So this is not my game.
It is not. I need y'all to say a name, and I'll be like, yeah. I see it. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. I can see the vision there.
That's hilarious.
Rob Dillingham.
This is fun.
I think Rob Dillingham, however you felt before the season, you should probably feel exactly the same way now. This is still whatever Jamal Crawford, Bones Highland, whoever you want to compare him to, still that way. He's still going to be an electric bench scorer.
Yeah, you got a puncher's chance to be Kyrie. The shittiness is outrageous.
Honestly, I think Bones Highland, before he torpedoed his career trajectory and got himself traded from the Nuggets, that's the best comparison right now, I think.
But I think, I don't know, because his playmaking is a lot better than I thought it would be. With the limited minutes he's been given, it's so much better than I thought it would be in his rookie year. So if Bones had more playmaking chops to his game or more
Jamal
vision,
Crawford?
sure.
Jamal Crawford could pass a little bit when he was younger, when he had a little more higher usage.
Yeah, let's lean towards Jamal Crawford.
Okay, shut up. Listen, the modern age Jamal Crawford, just like we said before the draft, still the case.
Yeah.
Reed Shepherd.
Oh, man.
Not playing at all. Having a nightmare rookie season. But like I said, rookie guard seasons are fake. It doesn't matter what he shoots. We don't give a fuck. He's still going to be Mark Price. I don't care. Still going to be a 5-time All-Star.
5-time.
But I'm not going to say he's going to be an All-Star. So who's like the non-All-Star version of like a Mark Price archetype of like off the dribble shooter, can pass, keep the ball moving?
Ty Jerome.
Who's like low? This year. That's not a terrible
bro.
comparison.
Yeah, if he could be Ty Jerome for this team, that would be a great addition.
Okay, shout out Ty Jerome for becoming the archetype for 6 men.
Yeah.
Listen, he'll start on like 95% of teams. You know what I'm saying? He'll start on
especially
your team.
The Magic.
He'll start on
especially
your
the Magic.
Yeah. That's low-key elite trash talking too.
Yeah. I like that. Who else? A little more offensive responsibility, Seth Curry. I feel like as a shooter, he can still get to that. I mean, Seth Curry's one of the best shooters of all time. But I mean,
I don't know. That's so far
takes,
away. I'm looking at 27% from 3 and 3.9 points. I can't.
He shoots better in the G League. He did barely plays in the Rockets. These stats almost don't matter. He barely plays. He actually started one game and he had 28 points. So
yeah.
Listen, 100% hit rate from the field when he starts. That's all I'm saying.
The verdict
Hasn't
is
missed.
out.
We'll see about
The
that.
verdict is out for now.
No, but he plays so little, like it's like impossible for him to be in a good rhythm.
Yeah, you can't be good or bad. I have no idea what to think about him.
But in the G League stats, he gets motherfucking buckets. Okay, well, as I see, this is not the podcast for player comparisons. This did not go well.
I'm sorry. Listen, you don't have it every day, and sometimes you just got to be in the right system. Player comps is not my system.
Darvin with hands in the pockets. You had Darvin Ham for the past 10 minutes.
He did. His hands are. Don't take him out now.
First of all, I've had my hands in my pockets the whole time. The whole time I've had my hands in my pockets.
He took him out right away.
Took him out immediately.
But
Shit.
I do agree. I do
Shit.
agree. I don't have any
my
X's and O's for you. I have all the rah-rah and all the pseudo motivational speaking give.
Fucking Darvin Ham, man. Last thing we're going to do, we haven't done like a 20 question style guessing game in a while. We're not doing 20 questions today. What we're going to do is I'm going to think of an NBA player. You guys have to guess who it is. All I can say is hot or cold in response to the player that you're guessing.
Perfect.
Okay, bet.
Perfect. Unlimited chances. We can be so reckless with these guesses.
So guess the NBA player I'm thinking of. I'm
Giannis.
only going to say hot or cold.
Giannis.
Cold.
LeBron.
Hot.
Whoa.
Luka.
Colder.
Steph Curry.
Colder.
Anthony Davis.
Hot.
Okay. They probably played on the same team, Donovan.
Mm.
Maybe
Russell
won a
Westbrook.
championship together.
What'd you say?
Russell Westbrook.
Colder.
Kyle Kuzma.
Colder.
Colder. Damn, hold on.
Going the wrong direction.
All right, so you got to think about caliber of players. So I said LeBron and Anthony Davis, and those have been the two hottest ones. Come on.
Yes, you did.
Start thinking. Austin Reaves.
LeBron, Anthony. Wait. Okay. Draymond
I'm just
Green.
thinking about good players.
Colder.
Oh, fuck. I was thinking about Clutch just now.
KD.
Cold.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh, no KD, no Steph Curry.
James Harden.
Cold.
Wow.
LeBron.
Michael
AD.
Jordan.
What the hell?
Incredibly cold.
What the hell? Okay.
Darvin
Ham.
Warmer, I suppose, but still cold.
Warmer.
Okay.
Does it have to be?
Alex
Cold.
Caruso.
Cold. Well, we'll say cold.
Rui.
Warm.
Alex Reed. Austin Reeves.
I said that.
Hot.
Oh, you did?
You said Austin Reeves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you say that.
I
I
didn't hear
didn't
him say
respond.
that.
Hot.
He said hot?
I said hot.
Ooh.
Okay. Austin Reeves.
So it's someone on his goddamn
DFS?
team. D'Angelo Russell.
Colder.
DFS.
Damn.
Warmer.
Please don't tell me you selected Jackson Hayes.
There's
Nope.
no way. There's
Cold.
no way he picked Jackson. Dalton Connect.
God forbid. Warm. Hot.
JJ Redick.
Colder.
Damn. Nah, this is awful. This is awful. We are fumbling. we are fumbling. I don't understand where we can go to make this up right now. All I know is that, listen, if Dalton Connect is hot, we have to be right there. We have to be right there.
Yeah. We have to be on the line.
Think about it. Say a name, please.
He said, carry me.
Please. I'm giving you the game plan. I need you to execute.
Okay.
I want to go Darvin Ham mode.
Bronny James.
Ding, 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 ding. White hot. Hands are on fire. It's Bronny James.
Boom.
You said LeBron immediately, and I was like, hot.
Yeah.
Couldn't be hotter. He has the same name.
There we go.
It is LeBron James.
There we go. That was fun as hell.
You said clutch. I was like, oh.
Yeah. He is with clutch, so yeah.
If you would have asked clutch, I'd have been like on fire.
Yeah.
There you go. I feel like people in the comments probably knew Bronny James very early on.
Yeah. Okay, that was good. That was fun.
If you're still here, comment Donovan went Darvin Ham mode. And we'll see
Hands in
y'all
pockets.
next week.
I did.
And we'll see y'all next week.